our 30 seconds. What's up? Happy Tuesday. Good evening. It's a little chilly, probably super chilly, depending on where you are. Well, welcome to the show. Welcome to Free Thinkers. I am Nikki D, one of your hosts, our moderator Q. The other co-host, he is going to be here in a few minutes. So just allow me to take a couple minutes to explain what Free Thinkers is, how to find us, how to join us, and all that good jazz. A little bit of a quick rundown for anybody who's new. Or just joining us for the first time. I guess that's the same thing as new. Anyways, if you're watching us, then you are either getting this feed through my Facebook page, or you are getting it through our YouTube channel, or you are getting it through our Facebook channel. So any of those three places that you may be getting the stream from, you can comment in the live chat, and that will pop up on our screen here. We love to engage with y'all in live chat. If you're not comfortable getting into the conversation live, totally understood. It's not always for everybody. A lot of folks are a little timid to come on live and have these conversations. But you can chat with us in the live chat on all three places. We love to keep the conversation going there. If you are interested in getting into the panel, joining us tonight and being a part of the live conversation, we would love, love, love to have you join us. Go to our Facebook Free Thinkers page. It is all over the place. It's on my page. It's on the StreamYard link. It's posted in a million different spaces. But if you go to the Facebook Free Thinkers page, it's got a hashtag in front, Free Thinkers, and then 2 or 3 dots afterwards. If you go to the Facebook Free Thinkers page, at the very top, it's pinned. So every week there's a new StreamYard link. It's not the same each week. Each week you have to use a new link. That's the very top of the Facebook Free Thinkers page. It's pinned with the link and just a picture that basically has something that says pick a post on it. So if you're trying to find the link to get into the conversation tonight, that is how you do so. It is on our Facebook page. It is not posted on our YouTube channel. The YouTube channel just has the link in the stream for the conversations. We do invite you to join both pages, though, because they serve multiple purposes, right? Our YouTube channel has all of our videos from all the things that we've discussed over really the last year. We've been doing this for almost 6 years now, but we've only been on the interwebs for the last, I don't know, last couple years. I just got on YouTube in the last year. So there's a year's worth of Tuesday nights on our YouTube channel. And then on our Facebook page is where we have all of our daily conversations. That doesn't mean we have conversations every single day, but oftentimes every day, multiple times a day, a variety of our 591 member group will just post whatever on the Facebook page. And that's where conversations like tonight come from, is called Pick a Post. And so essentially what we do with Pick a Post is we just go down the Facebook page and we pick posts of things, whether they're old or new, that people have posted. Some of them are conversations that we've had great detail on the page. Some of them are conversations that might look to have been skipped, not a lot of chatter on those posts, but nonetheless, we like to talk about those things. It's always, one thing to share information and type back and forth and, send messages back and forth, but that's not the same thing as having a conversation. So if you want to join us tonight, you can go over to the Facebook page and just scroll through the timeline and see if there's any posts on there that you're like, oh, I want to talk about this one. That's what we're going to do. I have a handful that I've picked. Q will have a handful that he's picked. Hopefully we'll have some other guests join us tonight, and possibly they will share the posts that were interesting to them as well. And that's essentially how the dialogue goes. So if you've kind of been hanging out with us the last couple of weeks or months, we have had a lot of pick a post conversations on Tuesdays. We generally have a topic each week, but sometimes we run out of topics, or sometimes we just last minute are like, let's go with the page. Because there's always good stuff on our page. So we always know we can have great conversation based on the things that are shared there. So we generally do have topics. We will have a topic next week. It won't be a freestyle pick a post conversation, but next week we will have a topic. But you'll see on our YouTube channel, each of our shows is dated, and it's got a headline, or basically will tell you what each show is about. And then if you go into the body of the video, it tells you a little more about what some of those conversations are about. We generally have a topic. We generally go from 8:05 to 9:30. Last week, however, was an amazing conversation, and we ended up doing what's called parking lot conversation. Back in the day when we would meet in person here in Austin, if the conversation would just not stop and the coffee shop was closing, so we had to leave the room, we would just go outside, and they had a huge patio and patio furniture, and we would just keep going, sometimes until 11 o'clock, midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, all well before Corona. And so last week was one of those. We went for 3 hours and 40 minutes last week. But it was a fantastic conversation, in my opinion. I enjoyed last week's conversation. If you were not a part of that or have not had a chance to hear last week's conversation, we did a whole good hour plus on just questions relating to flat Earth, whether or not, you believe in flat Earth. Why do you believe in flat Earth? Why do you not believe in flat Earth? Just thoughts and perspectives about flat Earth. So it was a really great conversation. If you are curious to learn about some flat Earth stuff, or you're just curious, period, and you're not shutting down the idea completely that, flat earthers are absolute nut jobs, go check out last week's conversation, hit play, and just hear what's said. It was an interesting conversation. So because we went so long last week, we will definitely be doing a hard close. Q calls it a hard close. So we will be stopping tonight at 9:30. You're welcome to join a little bit late if you need to. You're welcome to leave a little bit early if you need to. You definitely do not have to stay for the entire duration of the conversation, especially if we do run over late. You're certainly not expected to stay. It does get late. We understand that. So tonight we will be stopping on time. Last week, that was a different story. But for those of y'all who watched last week, participated in last week, I absolutely appreciate you for being a part of that, because it is a sensitive topic for some people, and it's a curious topic for others. So it went, in my opinion, really well. I totally lost my train of thought. But anyways, so tonight we'll stop on time. We're not going to have a long one tonight. We do have a few topics that have been picked out, and we'll just roll from there. So I'm going to grab my laptop. Give me a second while I'm multitasking. I want to make sure that this is showing up on my page. If you're commenting in the comment section right now, I cannot see you. My phone is still broken, so the other half of my phone is not visible. So if you're commenting in there, I might not get to you right now. I have to wait till Q gets here so he can see what you're posting. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and get started with some of the conversation that was taking place in the Facebook Freethinkers group page. Let me see. Hold on. Let me add Q in here real quick. All right. Bingo. Perfect timing. I was just about to look down at my computer and make sure that my video is public. Are you in there?
Yep. Can you hear me?
All right, cool. Yes, I can. Okay, cool. Let me just make sure really quickly. I got all the basics and the nuts and bolts. I just wanted to make sure that on my personal page, the video was public. Did you have a chance yet to find any posts? Did you grab anything?
Nope, I did not.
Nope. I know today was like a crazy day, man. I was like, how is it already 8 o'clock? I was like, holy crap. Well, I know Denise had posted one. She wanted to talk about the cultured meat, but we'll wait till she gets here. Hopefully she'll tap in.
What does that mean?
So just like in the last 4 days, the FDA has kind of given like soft approval. They haven't like 100% approved it yet, but they're going to approve it, where it's lab created meat. They say it is absolutely 100% animal. It just doesn't come from animals reproducing. So they basically take, it's like they're cloning essentially. So they're like taking cells from the animal. Yeah, I mean, so they're taking the cells from the animal and they're turning them into like trillions of different cells, and then eventually somehow shrimp and steak and lobster and fish is created. And they say that it is not genetically modified. They say that it's healthier. They say that it is organic. They say all these things. But I definitely feel some type of way about lab created meat. So that was one of the things that she wanted to talk about today. So I figured we kind of maybe save that for when she gets here. But
she on the East Coast. It's 9 o'clock over there. She should be here already.
Let's see let's see. Well, we got Stokely. Stokely's here. Denise ain't here just quite yet.
Shouldn't even take her that long. What's taking so long?
I know. I'm just saying. So there was that one. And then let's do this one. Since we got 2 men here, let's do this one. This is actually something that I posted on my personal page. And I think I had like close to 30 comments and likes, and 98% of them were from men who wholeheartedly agreed with this sentiment. And there was a few women who were like, yeah, I'm down with this shit. Just bring your spend a night bag. Like, just pack a bag. And so I honestly wasn't thinking about, putting it here and having conversation here. It was kind of just a joke. But then it turned into a really interesting conversation on my personal page. So then I put it over on Freethinkers earlier today, and ironically, all women have agreed with this sentiment. Men just haven't really chimed in a whole lot yet because I added it late. So it says, I want a man, but I don't want him to move in. Like, be my man, but be my man from your house. So.
Sound like you don't want a man.
So my thought to that is kind of like that, Cube. Like, on one hand, I fully understand what's being said. And I say that because now, being single this long, this many years, having my own space, my own peace, my own, all 1,800 square foot of this bullshit house is all mine, right? Like and I don't have a problem sharing. I don't have a problem compromising. Like, they always say that if the person is for you, you're going to move differently for that person. So on one hand, I totally understand being addicted to my peace and being addicted to my space. But on the other side, I also feel the same way that you said, Q. Like, if this is the person I truly want to be with, and this person really does make me happy and fill in all the fucking blanks, like, why would I not want me and this person to cohabitate and be able to be together every morning and every evening? And
it's not complicated.
There
are benefits to being single, and there are benefits to being in a relationship.
That's true. That's true.
The people who are in a relationship may not always want somebody. They have their moments when they like their own space too. But part of the conditions of being in a relationship, it don't necessarily work like that. So you have to find ways and spaces and pockets of alone time. But that 24/7 all day, that don't work.
Right.
And if that's your mindset, and see, this is the thing. It's okay to have that mindset, but you have to have it in what's the word I'm looking for? You have to have it in pieces. Like you don't get the 24/7 I'm by myself all the time. That if that's what you want, then yeah, you want to be alone.
Right.
And that's just okay. A man or a person in a relationship say, oh yeah, I'd love to have 3 side pieces also. Yeah, you would. But it don't work like that.
Right.
Since I'm in a relationship, then you make concessions. And so that's just what it is. I mean, it's not complicated.
And that was kind of one of the follow-ups that I had with one of the women on the Freethinkers page today, was that I think that as we get older, as we become more independent, as we become less codependent, as we have probably walked further down on our healing journey, as our communication has improved, as our comprehension has improved, as our transparency as an adult has improved, I feel like there's no reason why I can't have a conversation with my partner that I live with that, look, when I come in the house, I need some time. Or when you come in the house, you need some time to decompress. Or I don't know, maybe like in young love and dumb love and I don't know shit love, we just feel like we just have to make this person happy at all costs and times and have to be mind readers or something. But the 44-and-a-half-year-old me is not fucking doing that. And there's no reason why we can't communicate what we want, don't want, expect, don't expect, tolerate, don't tolerate, to where if I feel like it would be better for us to live in two separate places.
See, right there, you've taken it to the extreme. When you say, when I get home, I need my own space, and you have your own, you talking about us understanding our needs in in pockets, in spaces. Now, when you say you live over there, I live over here, you want to be single. And I think there is a danger. I say this often. There's a danger in being single for too long.
I at 6 years now, I can say that I agree with you. And I never ever thought that I would be single 6 years later. I didn't think that I knew I wasn't in a position to where I wanted to jump into a relationship at all. But 6 years later, like literally there's times where I'm walking around the house, I haven't showered in a day, and I'm stinky. I'm like, would I be like this if I had a man in the house?
No, you wouldn't. No.
So it's little shit like, ironically, one of the girls had put something like, if I got to pick up your dirty drawers every day, I'm not going to miss you. But it's like, just like I look around my room right now and I'm like, would my room look like this if I had a man coming up in here? Of course, probably not. It didn't before, right? But it's just things that I don't feel the same way about today that I used to back then. But I guess this is where, my wisdom as an older woman has also got to come into play too, of how I'm going to have these conversations and address these situations and be able to compromise with somebody to be able to live harmoniously with another person for the rest of my life, or however much long we got with each other.
Well, I did it for a long time.
What's that? Live separately?
I was the proverbial bachelor.
Okay.
And I say that I had a girlfriend. This is before my wife. I had girlfriends.
Yeah, clear it up.
None of them. Yeah. Why you playing? Look, let me talk softer. No, but I didn't want to live with anybody. And I'm the type of person, I could sit at home, read a book, sit and watch a movie. I'm a real documentary type person, so I like stuff like that. And they would call me like, hey, I hadn't heard from you today. Well, you heard from me this morning when I said, good morning, beautiful. You got that morning text. And then really? I realized
that's true.
I don't even miss the streets. I do not miss them. I did everything that I wanted to do. So, and that's where, when you have single friends, though, I have a lot of my homeboys, they still single there. They still out there. They call and I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not going to do that this evening. We go watch a fight or something like that, or a game. But other than that, I don't miss it. And truth be told, it took that person where I know when I come home from work, I'll go sit in my little office and read something real quick. But it's me just decompressing. It's me wiping that day off of me. And then, I'll come downstairs and eat dinner, and we'll chit chat, and we'll chop it up a little bit, find out how her day went, how my day went, and then we off for the evening, So it takes it takes some getting used to. I will say that, because
I would think so.
Yeah, let me say this, because when you have a blended family and you are shit different. I knew what I had in my refrigerator. I knew how much I had.
And the same amount was gonna be there when you came back to the refrigerator.
I went in that bitch tomorrow. I knew I was gonna still have some shit like that. Now, when you got other folk in the house, it's not that easy, But
so, Stokely, let me ask you: you guys have kids in the house?
Yeah, one left.
Okay.
And when I tell you, if I catch a case, y'all gonna know why. Love her to death, but man,
Okay. Yeah. And I think that's another thing, for single parents, be it men or women. I think that that's definitely something that is a big motivating factor for me, anyways, in choosing to not bring anybody around. Like, it's been a long time. My boys have never seen me with anybody but their dad. And I just don't feel like, if you're not here for good, I'm not even going to entertain bringing you around my kids. Like, it just, I actually have male friends. I do have a couple platonic male friends that is exclusively just that. And like, my kids see me hang out with those people. My boys see me have relationships with them on different levels. But like, just in and out the house type shit, dude here and there every couple months, 6 months, 8 months, 12 months, like. And so that's kind of forced my hand to a certain extent to stay single. And in that time, it's made me live in my space differently and respect my space differently. This is their house, right? Like, this one guy I was talking to quite a bit off and on for a long time. He was like, he's like, we could never live in your house. He was like, we would have to get our own whole place if we ever lived with each other.
Really?
Well, but you got to think about it. Like, this house that I live in, this was me and my kid's dad house. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I get it. I'm just, it's so common to hear that. I've heard that from other people.
That we have to get our own place
too.
Yeah, that we have to get our own place.
She's gonna be more controlling in the house that she lived in before you got here. She's gonna be more controlling and possessive.
Feel that 100%. It's ours. It was yours and his, and now I've moved in.
Right. Like, you can get rid of all the furniture and all the beds, and I mean, you can change out everything. But at the end of the day, and that doesn't mean that we can't make it ours. But I agree with that sentiment. I feel like if, whoever becomes my serious life partner, we are going to have to get our own space. Like, this is a stepping stone for me and my kids to get to the next spot. Right. And I can't move in with no man in his little bitty apartment or his 2-bedroom house. Like, that's not going to fucking work. Not because I don't mind 2-bedroom homes, but we need some space. Yeah. We need some space.
That is true.
And it could be a small house with a whole bunch of land. But baby, we need some space. I need a she shed and he needs a man cave. Like, for real. I get that today. I do get that today.
That's true. That's important. It is.
And you brought up a good point. You just don't bring people around your kids. And I feel the exact same way, just in it. But you know what? I had to be honest. Back in the day, I met a whole bunch of kids. I mean, that just because.
Oh, I did too.
Sure.
They would just bring
it.
It was terrible. And I think back now that I'm older and wiser, like, golly, like,
women, women love me too, so they want to
bombs on your moms. I was acting terrible. And so I think back to those days, and I'm like, man. But
he said, I met a lot of kids.
I met a whole bunch of children.
I really did.
Have you really? I mean, 40-plus-year-old men, of course, at some point, you're going to run into more women with children
that 18,
don't.
19,
yes.
I was.
When I was 18, I dated a girl that was 27. That was so crazy to me. Looking back on it, I don't think we had anything really in common except knocking about. But that was it. And so, I think back, and she had kids. She had been married. I was an 18-year-old kid, just out there in college doing what 18-year-olds do, I guess. But yeah, I've met a bunch of kids, and I'm not bragging. I'm just simply saying, if more people thought about it the way that you said it earlier, like, you just don't drag people around your kids. You just don't do that. And I don't do that. So, yeah.
This girl I was talking to high school, she had one. Then I started talking to the next girl in high school. She had 2. This was right before I moved to Texas.
Damn, she had 2 kids in high school?
Yeah, I was 18 and 19. We was the same age. She had 2 kids by then.
They didn't tell you to run from that? I know somebody told you to run.
My parents was looking at me like, "You, what are you?"
No, they were.
They didn't know about the one that had 1, but they knew I was talking to the girl who had 2. And then after I left there, then I start at 19, maybe just 2000. Maybe I probably just turned 20, and then I was with a girl that had 3 kids. They're like, "Whoa, Q, you just gonna keep going up the line?" She was 23 and had 3 kids, and so yeah, that just kept. That was.
But you said it right, Nikki. Like, if more people really thought about not dragging, 50, 11 people around their kids all the time, it would be a different, it would just be different,
It would.
But I wanted them to, people say, once you get married, have kids and divorced, and ain't nobody gonna want you. That's a lie. That's a lie.
Right.
That's a lie.
Right.
They still want you. Believe
right.
that. So,
right.
But
well, I think so cute. You said it becomes dangerous to stay single. The longer you stay single, it could be more dangerous. And I mean, I have theories about that too. What about that makes it dangerous?
Because it's in your nature to be independent. And once you've tasted independence for a certain amount of time, it's hard to be codependent or interdependent with someone else. It's simple, something super simple. You lived at your parents' house for what, 15, 16, anywhere from 15 to 18 years you lived in your parents' house. After you got your own place, your own stuff long enough, you ain't trying to go back there no more. It's like, I did that then.
No.
I have after I've tasted this new level of freedom, ain't nobody asking me what time I'm coming in and what took you so long and where you I have a problem answering those questions.
Right.
Like, so, just think about that. Most people like, no, I ain't going back there. I did that before. I ain't doing it again.
Right.
Where you been?
Yeah.
Right.
Even if it ain't, I'm not tiptoeing around my own dwelling place and just anything, sharing stuff, just like it's a lot of stuff that you like. So even in that mindset, you see people don't want to go back to their parents' house after they actually live by themselves. It's the same thing. You've been alone long enough. When you in your single life, who did you have to answer to? Nobody and God.
Right.
Now you got people you got to answer to. You got to be accountable for. When you go out, if you've been out longer than a certain amount of time, you need to text and tell, hey, I'm here, just checking.
I'll be home.
I ain't have to check in.
Let me tell you too, because I know a lot of people that are in the entertainment industry here. And so my friends naturally are people that are involved with bars, clubs, restaurant shows, just all that shit. And so like my natural before COVID go out was we would go to the spots and we would stay there till 2. And then we knew the owners of the club or the owners of the bar, or the owners of the restaurant. And so we would stay until like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, sometimes 5 o'clock in the morning. And this is when we were all just small time shooting the shit, drinking outside, smoking outside, still got the music going, bar backs are cleaning the bar, the owner, and literally nothing bad was happening. Nothing bad. Nobody was hooking up with nobody else. Nobody was trying to hook up with nobody else. It was literally just a bunch of grown folks who were in there, in living in their best life, hanging out 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. And there were times where this one cat I was talking to for a little bit, he's in the music industry too, so it never made any sense to me why he would always trip about me being out late like that. And I'm like, dog, you have no clue that we're literally doing nothing. We're just here. And I get it's not, maybe proper for everybody to come rolling in at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. But if nothing bad's happening, fucking come with me. But like, if nothing bad is happening and you don't have any trust issues with me,
right,
like, why are you tripping? And I could see for me at that time, it being a problem. Like, not because I don't want to respect this person I'm talking to, but at the same time, these are my fucking friends. We having the most harmless, just high school ridiculous time at 40 years old. Like, why are you mad that I'm having a good time? And I could see that being a problem if I were to have pursued a relationship with this person and, continued going out, hanging out on Fridays and Saturdays till 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. Like, God forbid we go out to eat afterwards. No, ain't nobody coming home at 2:01 because the club closed at 2. And so like, I never tripped on my daughter. As my daughter got older, I never tripped out on her coming home late. I know what happens after 2 a.m. Yeah, some bullshit can happen, but food can happen. The after party can happen. The after hour spot can happen. Like, it doesn't always have to be fuck shit happening after 2 o'clock in the morning. But that's generally the projection that you get if you've got that kind of person.
Right.
That was definitely gonna be an issue.
When Q said, it can be dangerous. See, my mind I started thinking, yeah, it could be dangerous, and not dangerous in the sense that someone could get hurt or anything like that, but dangerous being that single lifestyle for so long. You become conditioned to living that single lifestyle where that you can't coexist because we become set in our ways. I'm an old ass man, and I tell you what, to have to share shit.
Yeah,
the simple
what? Tell me, like, what are a couple things that you just really wish you didn't have to share?
Like, I have we're gonna have different bathrooms at some point. We're gonna have to, I mean, closets, because we got a gigantic closet, but half of it's mine and half of it's hers, and so I got tons of but I have, let me clarify. 1, 2, 3. I have 3 closets in the upstairs, plus ours. So I have a shitload of clothes. I have a whole bunch of suits and half the shit I don't wear. But she complains about that. But space, like you said, you couldn't live in a 2-bedroom house with kids and the husband or the new guy and all that stuff. We need more space. And we live in a 3,200 square foot house.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But it's just I'll say this. Like, I have my shower gel, but she likes my shit.
And like Deion Cole on those nice.
She likes my shit. And I'm thinking, like, no. Because see, when I go in there and squeeze, I just squeeze because I know I can go buy some more. Not being wasteful, but I like my little old loofah thing to be loaded up. Just glides over my body. And then when I get in there and I'm all slathered up and everything, and then I want some more, and then it ain't no more because she didn't use it. Stuff like that. I'm also the type that I'll never run out of toilet paper. I'll never run out of paper towels. I'll never run out of, things like that, toothpaste, deodorant. You can go upstairs underneath the sink and underneath my sink. I've got all that shit that I need, where that a lot of people aren't like that. I have extra toothbrushes, which are just, it's crazy. She says, that's crazy. But that's part of being in them streets for so long. You have a dirt leg stay over the night. She got to
somebody come spend the night, got to have a toothbrush.
Give her a toothbrush. Yes. That's just the shit. Why do you have all those toothbrushes down there? Because, not that, but these are things that you have to become accustomed to. And it's about sharing and compromise and all those things if you want your shit to work.
Right.
And the thing is also, like, a lot of people, they will, like, this is what I hear from a lot of single people. They'll get mad over the simple stuff. Like, they think it's something wrong with checking in. I ain't talking about people overly protective of this. Man, what you mean I got to tell them? Well, yeah, that's what people in relationships do. Yeah. So it just shows how, like, they're so detached from the whole relationship process to where basic things actually bother them. Is like, no, I can't be, I can't be checking in. They can't use my car. They can't. That's just, it's regular stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
But you've been single for so long that
you become conditioned.
You want all your and that's when I'm like, you can't have all your independence.
Right.
And still
if you're in a relationship, that those two words don't even
go back to the original question though. You want them to live at their own place and you want to live at yours. That's a bit extreme. It's not even that it's not impossible to find, but I go back to my pools again. You want to be with somebody, you are looking for an extremely small pool of people who actually want to be in a real full-blown relationship and not coexist in the same space. There are people out there, but now you're picking from a select few now.
I have a friend of mine that has his own. They live together, but he has an apartment also, and it's not. When I told my wife that, she was like, "What the fuck? He got his own apartment."
See, no, hold on. Nikki looking crazy. She looking crazy because they live together and he got his own place. But you just want y'all to have your own place and not even live. Like, That don't even make sense.
I was just saying it was joking.
I saw the look on your face. I saw the look on your face.
Because you're not gonna have a fucking apartment. Like,
it's not a fucking apartment. It's just an apartment that he.
Hold on, stop. Hold on, stop.
I don't know, but you're not gonna have an apartment.
He gonna
we
have
got a whole house.
If y'all gonna live apart from each other, we can put you
a shed in the backyard. We can get you a home on the tiny house in the backyard.
This is man cave.
Talking about I want us to live in our own places.
This is man
I
cave.
didn't say I want to live in separate places. I can understand.
What the post say again? What the post say?
I'm just saying I posted it because I thought it was funny. I said it was ironic how many men agreed with the post, and then when I put it on Facebook or when I put it on the Freethinkers page, how many women agreed with the post?
They lying. I'm telling you that right now.
Well, no, I think it goes back to what you originally said. That these are people who don't want to be in a relationship.
Right. So they're telling the truth from a single perspective.
You just want to date. You just want to date. That's fine. You just want to date.
The truth, but let them be in a full-blown committed relationship that they are committed to, and she got her own place where she come and go as she please. Everybody ain't. Most men I know for a fact, more than half, probably 3 out of 4, not built like that. No. They ain't built like that.
No,
where she could do whatever she want. Then that's when you go back to the where you at? You ain't call me. You ain't. Well, we don't even live together. Don't worry about that. You just make sure we enjoy our time when we do come together. Like most men ain't built like that. They be lying. They're lying, or they're only speaking from a single mindset. If they was really in a relationship, they wouldn't be cool with that.
Well, and I also feel like that's somebody who either really and truly does not want to be in a committed long-term relationship, or has not done enough of their own personal healing journey to not be hurt and scorned and maybe bitter, or, still feeling some type of way about, being with somebody else because maybe they gave so much to the previous person and got completely fucking shitted on. Right. So like the ability to give that to somebody else is something that scares them. Cool. Know that about you. Do not commit to somebody else. Don't play house. Don't act like you're going to play house. No, go figure out, go heal you up, go figure out why living with this person that you are fond of, that you appreciate, that you like a whole lot, that you love, like that shouldn't turn you off from wanting to grow with that person. And I think that if it does turn you off, if it does scare you, then you have to listen to that. You're not ready. One of my girlfriends, she made a comment, the last couple of weeks, she said, she left a really good relationship with a really good man, but she goes, I have just realized I'm not ready to be responsible for somebody else right now. I'm just not. And I was like, you can't be mad at that, man.
Right. Important. You got to know you. You have to know you. And like I said earlier, it took a long time for your boy to just go on and charge it to the game and be like this. Hang up them cleats. But once I hung them up, I was done. And I knew I was done. Because I met a person that had my back, my front, had everything that I wanted. Had an amazing time when we were together. We could talk about things. We could just be completely transparent with each other. And that's the beauty of saying, okay, I am ready.
Right.
My boy, matter of fact, I swear to God, when I was logging on to this thing, my boy texted me. He says, how's that married life? And literally 30 minutes ago, he texted me that. And I told him, man, this is good. This is good. But I said, I don't even miss them streets. That's exactly what I told him. And I don't. I mean, my wife, we have a great time together. We go places. We do things. We travel. She do ask a billion motherfucking questions about nothing half the time and shit, matter of fact, yesterday I called her. I said, where you at? She says, I'm at home. I said, why is it echoing? She goes, you never ask questions like that. I said, where you at? I'm in the damn bathroom. Damn.
Right. Of course. You knew that. You just wanted her to say it.
You just threw me off because I never ask questions like that. If you say I'm at home, cool, you at home. I'll leave it at that.
Right.
But she is the one. If I see, she would be, where you at? I'm in the bathroom. Damn, what you doing in the bathroom? How long you been in there? That's her.
Number 2.
Yeah. What you doing? 1, 2, or 3? What you doing in there?
Oh no, that's too much. I don't need to know all that. Call me when you're done.
It's become a running joke in the family though, for real.
That is so funny. I mean, and obviously there's going to be things that you're just going to take on, right? When you have a partner, like there's just going to be, everything's not going to be perfect. Everything's not going to be the way that you want it to. Everything is not going to be, snap your fingers and then boom, it's just all the things that I want, need, expect, desire, and all the above. But like, this is where compromise, of course, comes into play. And, you said something, earlier is, I was ready to hang it up. I was done with being in the streets. I think that when you're done fucking around, it's a lot easier to work on the next level of relationship, having, building, seeking, I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of marriages,
learning it, you learn so much when you have that person that's next to you. You also learn, and I've learned so much. Not only just, I thought I knew every damn thing, but shoot, I'm still learning, and that's the thing.
I just think that there's, I don't know. I don't know if all people are supposed to be with somebody. Like, I think that there are some people who really and truly don't want love from another human to feel a certain type of way, and that's okay. Like, I'm who am I to tell somebody what they should or shouldn't do? But I genuinely believe that men and women belong with each other. I posted something the other day that said men and women are not supposed to be equal. They're supposed to be complementary. And I believe that wholeheartedly. I do. That doesn't mean that women should be shit on. That doesn't mean that I agree with patriarchy and the things and the systems that it has instilled into our society. But I do think that men and women should be complementary to each other, yin and yang to each other. And I kind of wondered if some of the feedback from the men on my page came from probably having a woman who didn't trust men. Probably having a woman who projected a lot of other man shit onto these men. And so they were constantly having this woman up underneath their wing 24/7 when it's like, give me some fucking space, man. Let me breathe a little bit. Let me have my friends. Let me go to my brother's house, and whatever. Like, I don't have to be with you 24/7. Or they've been with women who have left all of their friends once they got a man. And so now these men are like these women's only source of entertainment, engagement, conversation. And so I wondered, in looking at so many men saying, hell yeah, normalize this. Let's live in two separate spaces. I'll still be your man. Just, I don't want to live with you. It makes you wonder, like, what kind of women were they with before? Because I feel as though if you're the type of man who thinks that a woman complements your life, or complements your space as a man and a woman, you want her there. You need her energy and her vibration in the home. Like, you want certain things. So it's important, I guess, not just to know what you want, but to know when you're done playing and when you're ready to take it to the next level. And I think a lot of people get those two confused. And it sounds good and it feels good.
Both.
You think what?
I think it's a space for both mindsets. There's certain people who I definitely think move in together too fast.
Oh yeah.
And then I think moving in together should be pretty much the final step of saying,
right,
you are life partner potential, or we are moving to the, whether you're going to get married on paper or whether you're going to make that, verbal or emotional commitment that this is going to be, that should be the last, until you have that, because you can be with someone and not be at that space yet to say, yes, we are committed. Yeah. But as far as my life partner, I'm not sure about that yet. So in that instance, I definitely agree. Yeah, ain't no need for us to rush into nothing until we come to that agreement and conclusion together. Then now, once you come to that conclusion and you still talking about we need to stay apart, then you need to do some compromise. And that part is I don't think that's for everybody, but yeah.
So do you guys have Sonya watch this one?
I'm definitely gonna have Sonya, my wife, watch this episode. Cause see,
do you guys?
I don't know. Depending on what we say, we might say some ratchet stuff about 5 minutes later.
It's been good so far. It's been good.
You can watch this episode.
Like, watch up to the 45-minute mark. Then I'm going to cut it off.
Where we at?
So do y'all think that, like in the 50s and 60s and shit, right? They always had our grandparents in 2 separate beds. And like, I didn't really understand that when you would see it in the movies. Like, why would they sleep in separate beds? Or why would they not sleep in the same bed together? Do you think that is smart? Do you think that having separate sleeping rooms under the same roof
Let me say this.
helpful?
This is an unpopular opinion, but depending on how people sleep, it can be convenient.
That's true.
There's oftentimes
if you snore.
If you snore, if sometimes in certain seasons of my life, I can be a restless sleeper.
Right.
Meaning I'm doing a lot of moving and rolling around before I can get comfortable enough to go to bed.
Something to keep you up.
Right. And now we got a little baby, and it's like I don't want to be doing a whole bunch of moving around and doing stuff and wake up the baby. So sometimes it can be more convenient if all we doing is just going to sleep. Now then you can have a whole separate room when it's you can have a separate room when it's time to do. Got 2 twin beds or 2 full-size beds, and then had a king size in
twin beds are cheaper than kings and California kings.
That could have been.
And them sheets is cheaper too. So hey.
I don't know. I couldn't ever imagine me not sleeping with my person every night. Like, that doesn't mean that sleeping on the couch is going to turn into a fight. That doesn't mean that
sometimes it could be overrated. I said that could be overrated sometimes, needing to sleep with the person.
Not needing to, but I just can't imagine me and my significant other sleeping in 2 separate rooms every night. Like I feel like the master room, the master bedroom is a sanctuary. Like I've always been very, very big on, my children don't sleep in my bed. This is my room. We all have our own spaces. Now, of course, as little kids, or God forbid something happened or they're not feeling well, pile up on this thing, come up in this big old king size bed. But like, I didn't co-sleep with my children. They had their own rooms. They had their own cribs. They were right around the corner. It wasn't that far for me to get up and go get the baby if need be. I don't let the dog sleep in my bed. Like there's like the bedroom, no matter how much laundry I have in here, the bedroom is like the one place that adults get to just turn the fuck down. This is my space. This is our room. So I would have a hard time if my partner felt the need to sleep in another room every single night, or more nights than not. Like, even if you fall asleep on the couch watching TV, cool, come to bed. Or if you fall asleep, in the studio, on your couch, cool, come to bed whenever you get up. Like, I wouldn't trip about something like that, but the necessity to sleep elsewhere, that would be challenging.
Yeah, see, and I agree with you, and that's the way I think also. But for those who don't, I don't think it's super weird. Like, at one point in my life, I'll be like, yeah, what's wrong with y'all, But now, even though that's not something like, more times than not, then we come to bed after you done doing whatever you're doing. We ain't got to go to sleep same time. We'll come to bed at the end of. So, but my whole thing is, for people who don't think that way, it's not as weird to me as I once thought it was. I can get it.
Right.
I can get it.
Right.
It's one of those things like Sonya can stay up all night long, watch TV all night long. I'm asleep, but I'm a very light sleeper. But I hog the blanket. So there's, again, compromise, give and take. I'll put my little eye mask thing on to black out the TV and all that. And shoot, I'm gone. But
she watches TV in the bedroom.
Oh, and it drives me crazy.
Oh, I couldn't do it, Stokely. Oh my God, I couldn't do it. Oh, I couldn't do it.
That was one of those compromises that we discussed.
See, with me, this is the crazy thing with me. I didn't sleep with the TV on. But my girl, she would always sleep with the TV on. So I got used to sleeping. I got used to the TV being on when I went to sleep.
Wow.
And then when we had a baby, then she didn't want the TV on no more. So then it was weird for me, because now I'm used to having a TV on. So now I have, like, either I'm watching like Netflix or YouTube on my phone or my tablet. I'm still, like, even though it's not on the TV, I still have to have some type of.
That's your wind down routine now.
As I'm going to sleep watching something. So now that was a habit that was given to me that's no longer.
That is so funny. Yeah, I can't have the TV on at night. I'm a white noise person, so I have to have the fan on.
I gotta have a fan on too. Yeah,
but it can't. And it can be as rickety as you want to, but I cannot have on. I can't have on a radio.
Even in the wintertime, the fan I have it pointed at the wall. It won't even be pointed at me.
Well, our bathroom exhaust fan stays on 24/7. I done burnt one out since I've been in this house. Like it stays on all the time.
See, I
cannot have the TV on. I can't have the lights from a TV. I don't want to wake up and see.
And it was the light from the TV that would bother me the most. I had to get used to it all the time. Yeah.
That would drive me nuts. I can't do that.
That took me a while
to deal with somebody who snores way more than I could ever deal with somebody who watches TV to fall asleep or keeps the TV on at night.
It don't bother me too much. Now,
it doesn't me either.
There's extremities to it, but
yeah, and there's obviously levels to the snoring, but that one doesn't bother me too bad. That one doesn't bother me too bad. So that was just interesting take. I was just curious, what y'all's thoughts were on that. Because like I said, the feedback on the men's side was all of them agreed. And then ironically, a couple of the women who chimed in on the Facebook page for Freethinkers, they agreed too. I was like, damn, so far not many people have disagreed with this theory.
I would want to see a poll of everybody who commented how many of those people were single versus currently in a relationship. That sounds like a single person response.
Most of them are. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them are. Yeah, most of them definitely are. All right, so that was that one. Let me throw on my glasses real quick. Did you find anything? You want me to pull up another one?
Oh yeah, pull up something else. I ain't looked at nothing.
So I was curious about this, right? Because this obviously had some interesting traction. Let's see. Why is it not showing up? Okay. So I don't know if you saw that I posted this on the Freethinkers Facebook page yesterday, I think. And I have not listened to the whole comedy. I didn't listen to the whole show to know in any kind of context and what he was speaking in. So I have not done that. But essentially in here somewhere, he said that men shouldn't be with women who don't listen to his authority. You can't protect a woman who doesn't listen.
Truth.
Yeah. You can't protect a woman that doesn't listen.
A woman's mouth can get all y'all in trouble quick.
Yes.
So if I say, hey, relax, it's not that serious. Because I'm the laid back one. But that mouth, somebody tell you better get a grip on them lips. I've seen it happen. I've seen man telling his woman, his wife, his girlfriend, whatever, babe, just calm down. And then she don't want to calm down. And next thing you know, she getting, scooped up off the ground and sleep,
Right.
So yeah, I'm saying this from the standpoint of, I don't want you to be harmed. I don't want us to be harmed. We don't know what, and in today's society, you don't know what's going on with people. Half these people, they'll stab you, they'll shoot you, they don't care.
Right.
So just, listen. And it goes both ways, I believe, but
of course it goes both ways, but men are generally the ones that are protecting women in most situations, right? And somebody had made a point on there. They're like, you can't protect anything that doesn't listen. If you tell a kid to stop, if you tell a dog to stop, if you tell a cat to stop, like you can't protect anything that doesnmen listen to you. And, of course, people read it and they're like, oh, listen. Who's listening to who? And who's telling, men that, they can't protect women if they don't listen? And why do women need protection? And I was like, good Jesus, Lord. I was like, it's not even there. Like, that's not what we're talking about. People find a million ways to break it down and make it more complicating. But I think it is absolutely as simple as, no, you can't be with a woman who don't listen. Just like I couldn't be with a man who doesn't listen. And that's not, you need to listen to me. It's a reciprocating respect of trust, somewhere in there that I'm going to shut up so you can do what you're supposed to do, or you shut up so I can do what I'm supposed to do. As opposed to not listening and, like you said, getting us in more trouble, escalating a situation.
That's one of those things people like. And oftentimes, especially if you're man from the street, then a lot of times we see stuff that you don't see. It was this time, this is at an old church I used to go to. I was an elder I was an elder at a church, and we had some type of a meeting afterwards because one of the brothers had some type of issue or whatever. Now at the time, I think the pastor was out of town. I think I was the only male elder in there at the time, and it was like 3 or 4 other women elders in there. And they, the guy, he did something, got out of line, this and that, but he's a street dude. Spent a lot of time in prison also. Like I saw him going to a place where they didn't see he was going. And he was like, yo, just, all right, well, look, this ain't gonna get dealt with right now. And my excuse, can I leave this? No, we still need to talk. I said, no. Go ahead, brother. You good. Well, no, we still need to. I said, sir, go ahead. I told hey, go ahead, escort him out. It's fine. I saw where it was about to go. And I after he left, I said, look, when I say something is over, then it's over. Y'all run stuff to a certain extent, but this right here, this is my area. You not paying attention to what I'm paying attention to. He about to pop off, and y'all gonna be all surprised and this and that, and y'all not. And see, this is the thing. A man understands men differently. See, women do all this going back and forth a lot of times. A lot of time, a man won't go there, but when he goes there, it ain't no pulling him back. Something was super. I don't know if y'all watched this. This was a prime example. Was it the Housewives of Atlanta or something like that? With Portia and Nene and all them, they always going back and forth back. Yeah, you ain't gonna do nothing, blah, 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 and that's all they do. It was one time they had like some type of pajama thing with the husbands and stuff like that. And
I remember that.
Apollo was there. The this and this and that. And then one dude said something and got off. And they still like, I'm like, y'all not paying attention. This dude about to, and y'all used to doing all this chirping. When a man go there, y'all not gonna be able to control it. And all this stuff that they thought was good for entertainment. Apollo went there and they dog whooped this dude and couldn't nobody pull him up off of him. And I was like, I see, and not only that, see, and this is why I'm saying they finally got it squared away, got things off of him. I'm looking at the dude Apollo. I said he not done yet. He got this look in his. I said he's not finished yet. And the moment he act like he was calm and cool, this and that, and the moment they kind of let up off of him, he went right back on and start wailing. I was like, y'all don't see what we see. So when we tell y'all to shut this down because we see where it's about to go, it's certain stuff y'all don't see. Yeah, y'all gonna throw wine at each other and do a little stupid. I'm like, no, it's gonna be some broken ribs and it's gonna be some real damage get done once a man go to that level.
Yep.
So it's like, that's why you have to pay attention and listen in certain situations.
I think it's smart to definitely know your partner. I think that there have been way too many times, especially men, have been put in situations with women who have absolutely escalated a situation. And a couple weeks ago, my kid's dad and I, we were together doing some shit, and some shit had kind of taken place while we were out, not between us, but it was a situation where something may have to take place. Thankfully didn't have to do anything, but I looked at him and he looked at me and he was like, if I turn this on, I'm not turning this off. And I knew it's not worth it. I knew, let's just leave. Let's just de-escalate. Let's just get out this situation. Because the last place I want him to be is going to jail on some bullshit, right? Like, and too often I think women like to poke at their man to see how far they can push him or to see how far they can go. And that's dangerous, man. With the wrong man, that's a really dangerous situation to be in. So it's like sometimes I have guy friends who have girlfriends who are fucking messy, just messy type chicks. And these dudes are always in some shit behind these women. And it blows my mind sometimes because, a lot of people got offended by the whole thought that men shouldn't be with women that don't listen. But really and truly, it's not an fair or false statement. We should all have a partner who respects us enough to listen to the words that we use, you know, but like, not like a toddler, not like a kid, but in that situation, absolutely. You are putting your partner in a dangerous situation by not listening or not being one to listen.
Right. I had to check my friend, which was a dude, and Nikki, you know I'm talking, best friend of mine. We were out at the domain chilling, just doing, you know, just relaxing, chilling. We cool middle-aged people just out here living our best life. Just good, drinking, everything is fine. And he had some guy that he knew. I don't know if it was a distant relative, something. Met him, all, how you doing? Nice to meet you, sir. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, yeah, cool, this and this and that. He didn't come with us. He wasn't part of our crew. We just happened to see him, whatever. Some type of way, this guy got into some type of spat with, I don't know if he was trying to talk to some dude's female or it was some weird type stuff. So then it started being this drama going back and forth. And mind you, we at this place, the police are literally maybe 15 feet away. They just stand there, right on the side, exactly.
Right.
And it started getting escalated. A fight started breaking out. Then my friend started running out, and before that even started, I was like, let's go. No, hold on, this and this, and then they start going into this whole thing. People started getting put in handcuffs, all this other stuff like that. And I told him after, I said, when I say it's time to go, it's time to go.
Right.
I'm like, you gonna sit there, what you gonna do? You gonna go to jail over this?
Right.
You're not even paying attention, because I'm seeing other people coming around in different spots and different places. I'm like, I don't know if you so caught up in whatever. I said, yeah, but I said, listen, it don't matter. If you trust me, when I say it's time to move around, then we move around.
Yep.
That goes with the trust. Same way. It's like, hey, yo, it's time to move around. Let's go. And there's a way that you say it when someone's taking the authority role.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't like, oh, well, what you want? No, when somebody, whether it's authority role, like even, you know, and Nikki the same way. When dudes start talking, I was like, I said, don't respond to him. I'm taking authority, because look, I'm going to handle this one way or another.
Right.
But you got to have people that's going to listen to you when that time comes. And he was like, man, you know what, you right. I shouldn't do it. I was like, yeah. I said, next, when we moving around, whenever I say something like that, then that's what it is. Let's go. So, I mean, it ain't, you're not punking nobody. It's, you're looking out for the well-being because you see a situation that's about to turn south.
Especially when you're not the person who's necessarily directly involved, you get to look at that third person perspective. Yes. And I think that's one of the reasons why I have been in very few fucked up situations, really and truly, like out socially. My head stays on swivel. I'm very funny about who I go with. I'm very funny about who I go out with. I don't drink to the point where I can't protect myself or I can't make decent judgment. Like I don't go to places where there aren't people there that I don't know. Like I'm very cautious about my surroundings because too many times some reckless shit jumps off and people been drinking, people been smoking, like people getting in their feelings and shit gets to being stupid. And I've been fortunate to not be in a lot of those situations because I'm looking for safety. I'm always planning for an exit, you know, trying to stay out of confrontational situations and bullshit that really is just bullshit. Now, that's one thing if we have to fight on some GP shit, but like fight on some bullshit, I'm not doing that.
And if you ever notice, I don't know if y'all pay attention to this, most men, especially most black men, we always see the stuff on YouTube and World Star and this and this and that, but 99% of the time, black men towards each other, we are super cordial and super courteous in all situations because we know it can go there if it needs to go there, but I will do everything in my power so if I make a mistake, we in the club bump you, oh my bad, bro. Oh, no,
bad.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Ain't no problem. It's always like that. Oh no, hey, you got it. No, here, let me get the door for it. We always cordial.
Unless you got a bunch of women
we
with
over here
you,
casual.
unless there's a bunch of women around.
Is that you? Oh, hey, my bad, bro. Oh, no, you good. It's always cordial because it's like there's no reason for us to even. We don't do the chippy stuff because we don't do well being chippy with one another. Chippy only gonna last about 15 seconds before it turns into something else. So we always stay cordial and courteous with each other.
That is true. That is true. I seen this young cat in charge of this old dude for some just crazy stuff. And the old dude's like, look, you better go get you a Barbie doll. I ain't nothing to play with. You know, which is real talk. I mean, the old guy was being serious, but the young cat was just being downright disrespectful. So, yeah, we will, 9 times out of 10, we will be like, oh, my bad, dog. Excuse me, you know, just to diffuse it, because we know once it gets there, if it goes there, it's going to be bad. You know, so.
Denise, had you seen that?
Yeah, I did see that. I think if it rubs people the wrong way, it's a few things. Because
authority.
You know, when they say right message, wrong messenger, you know what I mean? It's one of those things where he just says a lot of things sometimes. I mean, and people got to remember he is a comedian first. And his jokes are very like uncut, and just how he talks in general is very uncut. He puts no cut on his stuff. It's just straight right. You know what I mean?
But then he'll turn back around and throw some truth in there after he say the most craziest, ratchetest stuff, and then he'll come back on the back end, start putting context to it. He'll be like, oh man, he really preaching on it.
I don't think anything that he said in this statement was inflammatory. I feel like this is one of those hit dog holler situations that the people who felt offended by this, it's not about what he said.
Because everybody think we're in an equal world. They think everything in the equal world, even when it comes to fighting and protection now, which it's context
too, though. Like when you see that, like, and I'm not a person that normally I jump to conclusions, but I wait before I say shit. I am a conclusion jumper for sure. I just don't say it. I think about it first, and then I'm like, oh, okay, well, I was jumping to conclusions. But it's like, who was the messenger mixed with like the patriarchal society that we're in. So when you see men don't listen to women, it like reads really like, you know what I mean? Like aggressive and stuff like that. But it's very true. And I'm sure I've said this on the show a million times. I have brothers. I have 2 older brothers. So I've seen how things play out. You know, when you have 2 older brothers and they literally like have to protect you, like literally they're the ones that have to protect you. You have a brother, and y'all, especially if you are around the same age, they're literally looking out for you and things like that. So I've seen how things can like unfold. I know like what Q was saying and what Stokely's saying is very much true. Like a man for the most part is not going to do a whole bunch of this. It's like men are very chill, and even right up until the point before they're about to get down, they're very chill. So if you can't recognize that, like the first time I saw that, I was like, I saw my friend's brother like kind of arguing with this. Well, they were arguing, but it looked very chill. Like the other guy was doing this, but her brother was very like relaxed with it. And I thought everything was cool. And she's like, he's mad. He's really mad. And he was one of those people who's known to like, you don't mess with him because he don't play. When he does get down, it's a get down. And that was the first time that I recognized that when men who are really about that life are in that situation, it does not look rambunctious at all.
No, it ain't no talking. It's no talking. It's just going to be straight to the bid. It's straight to work. That's it.
Straight to business. So that's one thing. And then, like I've said this on the show before too, like I've been in situations where I'm like, if I involve my brothers in this thing, it's like, do I care enough about this thing to see this either escalate in somebody going to jail, somebody dying, and just because your brother is the biggest and the baddest and you believe they can beat up everybody doesn't mean that they won't be the ones that die, because they're cowards out there. Sure. So you have to like have all of these factors playing in your mind before you say, am I going to go tell my brother this, or am I just let this slide?
Right.
You know what I mean? And some stuff, a lot of stuff I have let slide. And then like one of my friends has said, he was like, it's dangerous having an attractive woman. As a man, it's dangerous for you to have an attractive woman, because men will try to like even test you. I remember one time I was out, I've been a few times where I was out with my ex, and dudes would be like doing the most, and he may not have seen it, and I would just be like, these dudes are trying to get me to tell him something so that they can have a reason to jump on him because they want me.
Damn.
And I've seen that whole shit happening. I was like, I'm not even gonna tell him what they're doing right now. Like, cause it was like I was sitting here, like facing this way. My ex was, at the time, my man was in front of me and they were behind him. And I was like, they're I'm not even gonna do that because I don't care enough and you're just being on that bullshit. I'm not worried about you, but it's two of y'all. So I already know where this is going. Or there'd been a time where me and him were walking together and some dude literally tried to holler at me in front of him. Like, just to you know what I mean? And so, and I would just
right, because they know that's the ultimate sign of disrespect. That's you want something to escalate quick. It ain't you talking to my girl. It's you doing it while you clearly see I'm right there.
Right, you know I'm right here. Like, but that's counter to what
that's
you
that
just
blatant
said,
disrespect. Like, do something.
Yeah,
but
literally.
That's counter to what you just said, Q. And a few minutes ago, you said that like 98% of men are, cool and cordial with each other.
You talking about men?
Yeah.
What we talking about is either
but
boys
damn,
or they goons or they other. It's different. Like,
I know, I know, and that's why I said unless there's a bunch of women around,
because men know how to interact with other real men.
True.
Right,
dudes who do that type of stuff, they on some different type stuff.
Yeah, because there's no respect to even, like, you have no respect. You have no respect at all if you're doing stuff like that. You cannot be a real man and do something like that. But it's just all because they want to pick, because they want it, because they feel like they can beat this guy, and if they embarrass this guy, you're not going to want to be with him anymore. Like, I had a dude one time at a concert, like, spend his whole time upset that I was with the dude I was with. I never met this dude a day in my life. I was in another city, like, just like, oh, he just got her because he's tall, and like just wild stuff to the point where his homie was like, bro, you gotta chill. Like, because I think he was drunk or something, right?
And that's where a lot of that stuff come in. People who high and drunk and they don't know how to control. Like, you got different type of people under the influence. You got some people who just get super chill. I'm chill. And actually, like, I'm gonna be more aware. I'm gonna be more courteous. I'm gonna be more like, the more because I know, it's just I'm paying more attention just because I have to compensate for me being under the influence. But there's some people who they get loud, they like to fight, they want to.
Yeah, I don't go out with those people. I don't. I'm not going out with
bad. There's a lot of women like that too.
There is.
And you know what the problem is?
I'd rather go by myself and go with bitches like that. And I do go by myself 99% of the time. I'm okay with that.
The majority of people who you see, like what they call liquid courage or whatever you want to call it, these are the same people who have very poor communication skills.
Yes.
And oftentimes they use the alcohol or the substance to open them up to express either what they want to say or their feelings, or they try to find ways to be expressive, but they can only do it. See, I don't have to act crazy when I'm under the influence because I can tell you what I'm saying when I'm sober.
Right.
I can tell you exactly what's on my mind and what I'm feeling. I don't need another substance to give me the courage to say something. So it's people who don't have the courage to say it absent of the alcohol who want to have, and then when they do it, it usually don't come out right, and it comes off, incorrect or rude or inconsiderate or just stupid. Those are immature traits.
And what you're saying too, Nikki, is a good point that I feel like kind of tops off this whole thing, is that you literally can't go anywhere with anyone who doesn't listen, because literally you're putting your life on the line, especially when you're going out in public with other people who will be inebriated. Because I do feel like most people who were under the influence of something, that's usually how, like Q said, that's when the stuff starts breaking out.
That's when bad shit happens.
Yeah, it's when when people are sober, for the most part, there's not a whole bunch going on. It's when people are under the influence. And And you have to be careful with who you go out with. Like, you know, like if something pops off, one, are you gonna make sure I'm cool? Tell you, like Q said, when it's time to go, like there's people who, if you are the type of person who want to sit and be in the drama, in the midst of the drama going on, me and you can't go out together, because as soon as I see something going on, my immediate mind is somebody's about to go to their trunk at some point in time, if it's in their trunk, if it's even in their trunk, because it might be on them. Like I can't, like my mind is like, we need to go. I'm not entertained by this at all, because someone can literally lose their life. And I think you can't be with anybody who doesn't listen.
So even like back in the city where I'm from, in just about every experience that I didn't go out often, but just about every experience that I had ended up with somebody shooting after the club let out. Just always, every time. So
gotta leave early.
Thank you, Denise.
I always have my car. I always have my car. I am never a passenger. I am always driving.
If the club let out at 3, we're all leaving at 2:30. If you didn't get the girl number by that time, it's too late. If you having fun and it's time to go, 2:30, we're leaving. We're not leaving out this club the same time everybody else is. And that was the rule. You followed the rule or you got left. And those are it's you know, and ain't nobody, well, no, listen, sir, we gone.
Right.
Ain't no questions about it. You knew the rules before we came up in
ride back, but we leaving.
Yeah.
So
I think that's why back in the day, like some of my girlfriends or former girlfriends, you know, didn't always like riding with me or, you know, fucking with me sometimes, because
maybe you want to leave early.
I mean, and contrary, actually, Denise, what we were talking about at the very beginning was how late I would stay. Because, you know, I know the bar owners, or I know the club owners, or we know the restaurant owners. So we're there till 2, 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. But when it's time to get out of a bad situation, the first person out the door is going to be Nikki D. You can come with me if you want to, or you can stay here in this bullshit, but I'm not staying. So I'm funny about who I go with. I don't get too faded or whatever in most situations socially. I only go to places really and truly where there's either people there that I know that own the place or work at the place. Like, I just don't, you know, and I'm grateful, and I'll knock on wood, but I'm grateful that a lot of the situations that a lot of women have experienced by the time they hit my age, 44, I've not experienced. And that doesn't mean that I have the answers for all things to keep you safe, but whatever the fuck it is that I've been doing since I was a teenager has definitely worked. And I've passed those same lessons down to my daughter, and they've definitely worked for her so far, and she's about to be 26. That doesn't mean it's always going to be that way, but there are just situations all too often. And you know what I do for a living. There's just situations all too often where drugs or alcohol absolutely changes what you would do in a situation under the influence versus if you were even just a little bit fucking sober. And I just am not willing to put me, my man, my children, your man, your woman in that situation when we don't have to. So when I saw it, I was like, shit, that's what I want a man to be able to tell me what to do, because I listen to him, because
in this car, let's go. That's what
he's earned that trust. He provided that space. You know, and then Brooklyn had posted something that an interview with Jill Scott, and she says, if you can tell me what to do, you can tell me what to do. And I was like, that's the one. That's the one.
You can't tell me what to do. Yeah.
But if you can't tell me what to do, I'm finna run all over that ass. But if you can tell me what to do, tell me what to do.
So let me take this a step further, Nikki. Outside of the immediate threat of danger, fighting this and this and that, this also applies to me as well. You hear so many times when I talk about this 2% that I got. That 2% is such a real thing. So 98% of the time, whatever thoughts, decisions, the way we run the house, the way we move, I don't care. You got it. Everything you see in my house, it wasn't put up by me. You think it go here, go ahead. You decorate it however you want to. You do this. All you. My room, our rooms, guest room, everything. It ain't lit. You do how you want to do. No problems.
Right.
But that 2%, like I said, I don't speak on it often, but it's mine. It's mine.
Yeah.
So when I'm telling something, no, this is what we're doing, this is what we're not doing, this is what I need you. Whenever I do that, it is so important. And if that 2% is not listened to or respected, then I can't be with you. Like it is I will and even in I will mentally check out on you.
Right.
If I can't physically leave because we were married or something like that, but the moment you're not listening to me, okay, well then you don't need me anymore then. If my voice, when I'm telling you my voice needs to count right now, if it don't count to you, then I don't need to tell you nothing.
Right.
You do you live your life. You the man. Have at it. And you probably in situations like that, you might not hear nothing else from me. Don't dare ask my opinion again. Well, what you think? What you want for dinner? You have what you want. Like I will check out on you. If you don't listen to me when I need you to, I'll check out on you.
Yeah. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think that what you're saying is chauvinistic. I don't think it's controlling. I don't think it's, I don't think it's an unfair balance. So if you say that she pretty much rules the house 98% of the time, then goddamn, you got to give him something. He got to have a little piece of corner of that closet.
I'm not talking about the 98% men who try to control everything and what you do and how long you.
Because that's the alternative. If you've got somebody who is literally that 98% of the time, and then that 2% of the time they're actually nice, don't nobody want that.
Right.
That's not the same thing. That's controlling. That's domineering. That's disrespectful. The other side, no. And that's how, I mean, I don't know. But you and I have very old school beliefs though, too. We have old school ways of being in relationships. And that's kind of where I come from too. Let me take care of the house. Let me be home CEO. That doesn't mean that you can't have your say so or your spaces or your places or your input or what you like or what you don't like. But let me run the house. Let me run a family. Let me run our shit. Let me run us. But when it's time for you to put your fucking hat on, I bet you best believe I'm gonna be right here listening and waiting for instruction. There's a yin and a yang. There's a way that this is supposed to go. The complementary balance.
I think too, on top of that, I think if we don't bring up this very important issue, people will push back on it. And there has to be established trust.
Right.
Because you cannot listen to someone that you don't trust.
Right.
You saying what I'm saying, Denise? Because by you not listening to me, it's like, oh, so you don't trust me either. Why am I talking to you then? Yeah. Because the only reason I'm telling you this is because I feel that I've earned that level of trust. And even see my just like my 2%. A lot of time, you can run the house. You can set the rules for how to, number one, manage the house. Don't manage me. That's the other thing. You manage this house, but you don't manage me. I still run mine. If I want to drink 5 glasses of water and get 5 different glasses every time I go, that's what I do.
Thank you.
That's what I do. If I happen not to put if the shoes don't, they go here and it's not exactly where okay, that's all right. Take them, put them where they need to go. It's certain stuff. Don't manage me. But then the only time, like even times where I step like, no, we're not gonna do that. It's more so I don't control my house, but I am very attentive of the tone and the atmosphere of my house. So even when it comes to my kids, there's certain things that do this, but if it comes to something to where I want my children to always feel as free as possible within reason in my house. So there's certain things. Well, no, it'll be all right.
Right.
It'll be all right. Well, okay. I'll handle that. It'll be all right. So it's because I'm more looking for just a bigger picture or I pay attention to just tone or feel. It's almost like a coach, like say a basketball coach or a football coach or something like that. You got the X's and O's on how to place your run, but then it's also how do I keep the rapport in the locker room right? I want to make sure everybody's communing properly. I want to make sure everybody's got a free flow. I want to make sure that my kids always feel comfortable coming to me and talking to me at every time. So even if I'm working from home and no, don't bother your daddy. No, come on in. What you need? I just need. All right. Well, look, you gotta be quiet. But just come. You can come in here, relax, do what you want to do. That's the time. I'm more focused on the atmosphere that I want in my house versus it's not an X's and O's thing. So those are small things that I'd be like, no, this is what we're gonna do, and it's gonna be all right.
And even with that 98% versus the 2% that you have, I kind of feel the same way. But it's kind of like, even though the numbers aren't balanced, it's balanced.
Right.
You don't want to have that consternation in the house, as you were just saying, Q. Consternation where everybody, I've been in places where you can cut the tension with a knife in that bitch.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not what you want. But the balance is the key. And Nikki keeps saying yin and yang. It's the same thing. You have that balance, that vibe. Me and Sonia have a vibe, and it just works. It's collectively works together. So that is that's true stuff.
Well, that vibe creates harmony.
Yes.
And how do you not want harmony in your home? How do you not want harmony in your spaces, right? So when you, going back to what Q said about how things feel, when you genuinely and generally start to feel that happening, it makes listening so easy. It's like it's the way that the male and female, the masculine and feminine dynamic is supposed to engage, I believe. But again, that's just how I am. But it was interesting to see the kickback with some of the words in there. But I'm like, but that in itself is an issue. Quit getting caught up in the words. It's the message. It's not just the couple of the words. It's the message. And yes, there are times where words clearly are used inflammatory and in ways where those words themselves, of course, are the issue. But the statement in itself, I don't think was a bad statement. I was surprised to see so many people who were majorly bothered by it. But it wasn't. I didn't think there was anything wrong with it. No man should be with a woman that don't listen.
Again,
I don't know wrong with that.
A lot of single people who misinterpret
missing the message.
Yeah.
Missing the message. To his authority. They don't like the word authority, I think, in that statement.
Right.
What you mean authority?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, Denise.
Yeah, that can be a little harsh. What are you gonna say?
Well, do you want to get into your topic suggestion?
Oh, the meat situation?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So I found out about this.
I'll be right back. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah. I found out about this because we have this thing at work called Monday morning meeting, and we just talk about usually what's going on with the company or whatever. And sometimes people present new things just in the world that are happening. And so they had posted this, and I don't know if they thought it was a good thing or whatever. Because when you start talking to people who are into sustainability, they don't give a goddamn. They will feed you plastic if that's what they need to do to maintain the earth, whatever you want to call it, right? And so they were kind of sounding like they were down for that, but I was just like, okay, so for context, the FDA has approved basically
cultured meat.
Basically cloned meat. What's the exact term that they use?
Cultured. It's called cultured meat.
And what are they doing?
And that's a problem in itself because they don't want to call it what it is. So they already trying to put the okie doke on you right from the jump.
Yeah, they're taking chicken cells, I believe, and making more chicken, doubling the chicken cells and cloning the chicken cells. Pretty much is what it sounds like to me. And it's supposed to be okay to eat, just like certain things, as we call them, the jab was also supposed to be okay, right? There are a lot of things that the FDA approves that I find a little sketch.
That almost makes you not want to fucking eat it just because it got a stamp of FDA approval. For me, anyways.
So with that being said, there are a few questions that I have around this. Okay, so yeah, y'all approved the clone meat. It doesn't surprise me because y'all will let us like take in anything in our person. But my question to y'all is, why do you think they're even cloning meat right now? What is going on underneath the surface that you think we're in a place where the FDA wants to be okay with us eating cloned meat? Where are we?
I think, first of all, I think two things could be true at the same time. Number one is just technology. You have scientists. When you come across certain revelations, you can't turn your back on it. And there can be scientists and pure-hearted people. And keep in mind, see, we're looking at it from an American perspective, but there is certain areas of the globe where people are starving. So I think there can be certain people who say this would be wonderful, this would be great to help, and what if it could bring food to the whole world and no children had to starve? That's a wonderful thing, right?
Can I chime in?
Sure.
I just
remember I said two things would be right at the same time. I ain't got to the second part, but go ahead.
Have to say this. We have enough food for everybody to eat. That's not why people are starving. There's enough food for all of us to eat. That's not why we're starving. We are starving because we are in a very specific
okay, so even this in the documentary that I don't remember when I saw this, but I do remember seeing this. Even yes, okay, enough food for everybody to eat. Everything is an expedient because, say, America has enough food or certain types of food, but then there's also by the time you get it to some of these places, then the food may no longer be good, or then you'd have to package it or prepare it in a way that it would hold or be sustained for the trip or the period of time that it would take to get there, and be sustainable long enough to where we can have this food and it still can be eaten over the course of these months or years. And that in itself is a different cost. But go ahead. What are you saying?
I gotta hop in on this part too.
Sure.
Because we're just talking about food and all that. The other problem is, I think in terms of we're thinking about other people who may not have food, and we're thinking about getting things to them, but no one is teaching anyone independence. No one's teaching anyone about farming. No one's teaching anyone about gardening and like being able to sustain yourself through your own practices, being able to grow your own food. That's the problem. The problem is that yes.
I know you still speaking from American perspective though.
Well, I'm not. No, I'm not. We have soil everywhere.
There's certain places in Africa or in certain places it's not like it can be expensive to go. Like, what if you don't have the amount of water that's needed, or what if your water is not reliable enough to sustain those gardens? There's certain areas, and if you don't have these, faucets or sources of water, when it decides not to rain for 10 months straight, then all your stuff is gone. Your crops is dead by then.
That's true, but then also,
and even if you look at Africa, Saharan Africa is still growing and growing. It's more desert. Even over the last 75 years, the cultured area is being taken over by the desert. Like, they're running out of water. I saw somebody post a thing with the Mississippi.
Yeah, that's
like
me.
The losing water, that's a real thing. So anyway, go ahead, keep saying what you're saying.
So I'm just saying all that to say, like, the feeding people aspect of this is like the Band-Aid over a gunshot wound, because it's way bigger than just shipping food to people. It's like something else needs to happen so that people can eat, so that people can have clean water and like basic shit. Like, we're over here cloning meat, and I felt like there is something better that can be done with that time, resources and efforts, to where people really can have clean water and have food that they can.
Well, it sounds like you mentioned entities also. The scientists who've been in labs and finding different ways to clone stuff may not be the same people who know how or have an interest in digging wells and bringing water to certain. Those can be two totally different entities.
Well, they don't make as much money off of digging wells and tapping into water sources. They make more money creating a product.
But what I'm saying is to go
take place of the original product. Humans are one of the worst things that have ever happened to this planet.
I know, but what I'm saying is to go to the people who are cloning cells and say, how come y'all not digging wells in Africa? It's like, well, that ain't what we do. Go ask the people who dig wells. It could be too like, but to put that onus on those people. I don't know how fair that is.
The $300 and something million that has been invested into just in the last shit. The research I did today, it seems like almost most of these cured meat companies started about 2015 on up. Most of them 2017, 2018, 2021, all brand new. $300 and something million have been invested on the technology of basically cloned animal meat. $300 million.
It's two different things. The people who are investing that investment, meaning when you invest something, you're looking for a return on it. We're going to invest in this. Once they produce a viable product, then we're going to get a return on it, and we can, we're going to make some more money off of that. Those same people may not see the benefit in being able to draw wells in certain parts of different countries.
Can't make money off of it. They can make money off of a product that they provide.
Well, I'm saying, that's what I'm saying. You got your answer right there.
Yeah, so I don't think that it's about feeding people. Never do I think that it's actually the benefit of the people. Just like the jab was for me, not for the benefit of the people. Just like vaccines in general are not the benefit of the children. They do a lot of damage to children, and we see this later on in life. This food, this is not to feed people. If they wanted to feed people, then we would fix the problem. But back to kind of what Denise said, we're in such a lazy convenience microwave society. You think about like back in the 50s, right? When the what's the dairy farmers, the dairy milk all of a sudden became a standard staple in our life. We all grew up with milk as a body good. We all were taught you have to have milk. You got to have it 50 gallons a day. Go spend $6 a gallon today on milk. Like, go buy milk, go buy milk. If you don't have milk, your bones are going to break, your teeth are going to fall out. But actually, milk is one of the most disgusting fucking substances we could put into our body. But the dairy farmers were going to lose so much money, and they got in bed with the USDA and all the other organizations and powers that be, and the food pyramid was designed and all of these things to push this product, milk. Milk creates infections and illnesses and shit internally, which creates another consumer for the pharmaceutical industry. If they wanted people to be fed, they'd feed people. They would take out the things from our diet that are killing us, like meat. Fuck meat. Go plant farms. Go plant fields. Go create systems in which people can eat for free. Grow lawns. Instead of having lawns, having gardens in front yards. I mean, there's so many parts to this that are not about feeding people. This is part of the machine of somehow us normalizing fake meat. And they say, oh, it's still real chicken and it's real shrimp and it's real all these things. Well, then why aren't we cloning humans? We can't clone humans.
See, and that's what I think.
But they always say, but the science community and the medical community won't allow that, though.
But I think and in all honesty, that probably is where the meat cloning came from. They were probably at one point in time trying to see, and this is again.
This is a
listen to this. When there could have easily, I'm not saying it is, I'm just saying possibilities. There could have easily been certain scientists. Maybe they lost a parent to heart disease or liver failure or something like that, and then so they had a passion to say, yo, this my parent or this and this and this was on the waiting list for 2 years and it never came. What if we could get this faster and we don't need to wait on someone else to die or to donate an organ for this to come? So what I'm saying is there could be someone initially with good intentions, and this happens just about every situation, someone with good intentions. And then the people who say, oh yeah, that is nice, I want to invest a couple $100 million. The people who invested have alternative motives for it. So you can have the same push. Certain people want to get this to save lives. Other people want to get it to save money. And while we doing that, while we saving money, why don't we put this in it also? And we can make it faulty this way. So then they're going to need this type of drug to maintain the organ that we give them. So it's always, it can be duplicitous. I guess that's a way of saying. The same way with the meat. We can feed all of these people that's hungry. We can package it in a certain way. It don't rot the same way this can work. And then the other person that say, hey, I'd like that. We want to send $500 million to help invest this in it. And those people, they want to get their return. And now while we at it, we have a list of ingredients we also want to infuse in this meat as well, because later on down, they ain't gonna do nothing to them right off, but later on down the road, it's gonna cause these problems. And now we also own this type of drug that we're gonna be able to give to them on the back end that they're gonna need, and we're gonna get paid twice on it.
Absolutely.
But that has nothing to do with the person who originally wanted to feed the I don't think you should always try to put the scientist in bed with the capitalist.
But that's what they are.
But the motivation.
That's what they did. I mean, you want to find a capitalist, you go find a scientist and a pharmaceutical company behind them.
Capitalism corrupts everything, but that doesn't mean that original motivations came off were capitalistic, came from a capitalistic.
I agree that maybe the original intent was with good intention, but very rarely do good intentions stay just good intentions when you start to put money behind them and big business behind them.
I don't think you can trust anything in a capitalistic society.
Once big business gets involved, it's no longer just that. I mean, if they were concerned about the water supply and animals dying and so on and so forth, they would stop spraying chemtrails. They wouldn't let Monsanto be in every single pesticide that there is that literally kills the soil that Monsanto Roundup is sprayed on. There's just too many people in bed with each other on so many different levels. When you get to those types of people, USDA, FDA, CDC, all of those people, that it makes it very hard to believe anything but nefarious shit is happening here. You've got Bill Gates owning 240,000 acres of American farmland. He's not fucking farming. He's not putting crops in there. You've got farmers for, the last damn near decade who have lost their farms because, they can't get the crops in because the sun is too hot. They don't have enough water. The bugs that are coming in are no longer they're not resistant to these sprays. I mean, there's just so many things that they're doing to literally taint our actual food supply.
Yep.
That this shit don't feel good to me. And then I read something a couple years back, because they originally started talking about this a couple years ago with genetically modified salmon. That they were going to create some GMO salmon, and they were not going to be required to label it on the packaging that it wasn't real salmon. And so that's kind of where I spent some time today when Denise mentioned wanting to talk about this, is I spent some time in trying to find out, is the FDA going to label these products? How are they going to label them? And they still haven't come up with a response, because everything is all still in the testing phase. They're like, well, the USDA and whoever else they said it was, the FDA, they're like, we're working hand in hand and we're cross-referencing and checking all of these things. And when that time comes, then that time comes. Like, they're literally not saying how things are going to be shared with the public. I would not buy meat. Well, I don't buy meat anyways, but I would not buy meat that was lab created. I wouldn't. I don't trust that. I don't feel good about that. And at the end of the day, I don't eat meat anyways. If you really want to be healthy, you're not going to eat meat. Like, if you really want to be healthy, you're not going to drink dairy cow milk. Like, those are the things that actually kill us when it's all said and done. And those are the things that we were force-fed to believe we had to have to be healthy growing up. That you had to have, a meat and a starch and a fruit and a milk with every single meal that we have. What'd you say? What
about clone fruit?
I'm not eating cloned anything. I don't want anything cloned. I rarely buy anything but organic vegetables.
Most of them. But okay. You know, most of the fruit that we eat now is halfway cloned already. It's been modified
Bananas
to the
are.
point that it's not even. Yeah, exactly. That's what you know. Like bananas. Like, did you know the size that bananas originally were?
Right.
They were like a
They're
third of the
burrows,
size that
baby,
they are
little
now.
baby bananas. Mm-hmm.
Can I say
like,
this?
Sure.
Can I put on my conspiracy theory hat right now? Love it. Right. What if this is a soft launch to cloning humans?
And I think it is. I absolutely think it is.
Everybody used to it, and then because Q, what you're saying is really good, right? Because if I want to soft launch cloning humans, I'm going to be like, well, what about organs? And that's going to be my first rollout. Because this I'm going to have a cute little story about some kid who needs this organ and how the parents decided to go ahead and try this new whatever clone organ they're working on, and now this kid's running around and playing soccer and doing whatever else, and then the next thing you know, we had cloning full people at this point.
Sure. That's see the term cloning itself is like a cuss word for the world at this point. It sounds wrong, it sounds off, but if you get people used to or accustomed to the concept of cloning, then over time it won't seem that bad. So okay, now say 40% of all of the food we consume is clone. And see, and just like what do they call it, Denise?
Soft lunch.
No, not soft lunch. What do they call the food that you said? What's the procured or
cultured meat?
Cultured
meat.
See, so now the clone has such a bad term to it. Now they might just call them cultured organs. See, it's a way we're gonna reintroduce this.
I would support that because I support medical intervention in certain situations. I would support them cloning hearts and kidneys. And
so basically, what they're gonna do is clone it.
If you made an organ for everybody that had an infliction, then you wouldn't have a pharmaceutical customer. And we can't create solutions. We can only create problems.
So we went from using the term clone. We're not going to say clone anymore. We're going to say cultured. Now we're culturing meat. Long as we get people to accept cultured, oh yeah, this is cultured. This and it's fine. We get comfortable with the term, and we get comfortable with the interaction between these cultured things. So now we're going to step it up. Okay, so now we're going to start culturing organs. And culturing organs, that's not we interact with culture stuff all the time. So now it's organs cultured, and now for the loving couple who just wants to love, we can culture children, and that still sounds crazy right now, but after 10 or 15 years of eating cultured meat, we culturing organs.
You become conditioned to hearing it.
And the term cultured ain't gonna even sound so bad, even when we're talking about culturing babies.
I need to go change.
It still sounds crazy now, and if we get 20 years of interaction with culture, it's not gonna sound so bad. So
I need to go change all my stuff tomorrow to do not resuscitate. If I go, I don't want to be around for this bullshit. This is getting crazier and crazier.
Just let me go ahead and go.
Yeah,
just let me go.
Shit, do not resuscitate me.
You make an excellent point on how they can segue into cloning humans. Well, this person, they're unable to produce eggs right now, or this person's sperm count is low.
Culturing eggs gonna be the first part of it.
Right. They deserve to be able to have children. This is the blah blah blah. No one's being hurt. And then, can I put on my double conspiracy theory hat?
I already see.
Then we start getting into, is a clone a human or not? Then is it
real or not?
Is it real or not? Does it have a soul or not? Do you have to pay wages? Can it be your slave?
Oh shit!
They definitely won't use the term slave, but they'll call it something else.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, they cloned. I saw them clone, and this is no bullshit. A video where they cloned a human ear and an eardrum on the back of a mouse.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
I don't think I saw that one.
This white mouse literally had an ear on its back that they had injected it with a functioning eardrum drum on its back.
So it can hear?
All this stuff that we talking about. No, it wasn't. They were going to take it off and use it.
Just see if they could grow it.
Needed an ear and a drum. Yeah, to see if they could do it. And so he could hear out his back. Really?
I'm like, did it hear too?
No, they were using the mouse, lab rat, to see if they could grow this ear and this functioning drum on its back, and it did. So yeah, all this stuff is, and AI is the next big thing. So you're gonna have motherfuckers. I don't know if y'all real shit. I don't know.
I expect all of this.
We've talked about this.
I think it's part of the God gene. It's a God gene. It's the same thing that how God created. We have the ability inside of us to come up with those same ideas. So I don't even look at it as an evil thing. People will eventually. People are evil. The technology itself is not evil, but people are evil, and they'll find ways to take things and use it for bad intentions and bad purposes.
Yeah, we've seen how this plays out in the movies every single time.
Robots.
It's rarely with good. It's rarely with good intention, and like I said, we've talked about this quite a few times on Black Tea Talk, like. I remember the first time that Smack had mentioned the word transhuman to me. It took me a second to kind of wrap my brain around that, because when you hear transhuman, I think most of us are programmed to think of a transgender person. But that's not the era that we're entering. We're not entering the transgender era of humanity. Right. We're entering the transhuman era of humanity, where we might got some chips and parts and pieces and shit. It
makes more sense to me when Smack talk about God as a robot, how he see God as that makes all the sense to me in the world.
And that's so trippy to think
because
about.
What it is, like, I mean, if you want to, we are a suboptimal shell. We are an antiquated shell.
Yeah,
that has a short shelf lifespan on it. Now, what if we can have our same existence, soul, conscious, whatever you want to call it, but we put it in a better body, a more long-lasting body that can be interchanged differently and in a better way, to where our soul or conscience can maintain itself in a better shell. Mm-hmm. Maybe at the time that this shell was created, that if you believe in God, that God created this shell, God just used what was available at the time, which was dirt. Ashes to ashes, dust to dirt, dust to dust. And now it's like, as you grow and evolve, now we have better ways to use it. It's just like we do this with pots and pans. Like, iron was the strongest thing at one point in time, and then they came up with steel. They're like, oh, steel, this is a much better, durable, it transfers heat better. So steel is 5 times better than iron. So then we did away with a lot of stuff that we used iron. We used steel. Same thing.
I was talking to a friend of mine who's an athletic director and a head coach, and we were talking about, and this is a slow progression of how things have changed even when I was growing up to now. So growing up, the biggest guy on my high school football team was probably 260 pounds, 6'4", 260. You got kids in high school now that are 6'6", 6'8", playing football, bigger, stronger, faster. We're still the same humans, I think, but the evolution of how these kids are growing is different. Also, we're talking
but is it even considered evolution, Stokely, when there's a very real possibility that it's hormonal based on the foods and the things that we're ingesting into our body? Like, that's not natural.
That's where I'm going. And we were talking about, girls that are filling out at 9 years old, which is insane.
Lord help me.
Because when I was 9 and I saw a 9-year-old, I knew she was an 8 or 9-year-old girl.
Right.
But now you don't know. You see a 9-year-old fully developed and you're like, holy smokes, what in the world's going on? But that's what we were talking about. And you have athletes now that are you had athletes that were fast back when I was in school. but are super fast now and quick. Boxers back, Jack Johnson, they called him the Galveston Giant, I think. Jack Johnson, he was only 6'1". That's not a big dude.
Right.
But back then he was, you know. So when you look at time and how foods, things that we eat, processed foods and so on and so forth, have gotten us to become bigger and not necessarily stronger, definitely, I wouldn't say healthier, you know.
George Foreman would be considered small now.
Yeah. It's so crazy to see that.
When he fought Ali, he was what, 6'3", 220, 225?
Yeah.
That's small now. That's small.
Not big, yeah. You got cats, you got Tyson Fury
6'9".
Yeah.
He's 6'9", 280. The Klitschko 6'8", 6'7".
Yeah. So we were having that conversation about how is it evolution? We don't know. I mean, I don't know, and me not being a girl, but girls starting their cycle much younger now versus back. You could be in your early teens before you was doing it back in the day.
No, girls are getting like at 8, 9, 10 years old now, and that's not normal. It's just not
happening in my era, though. Like back in, like when I was 8, which was like 1995, I guess. I think it's when I was like 8 years old. But like during that time, like there were girls, not regularly, but there would be some that you would be like, oh, they started at 8 or 9. I think it was kind of starting around that time where you would see it here and there. But I guess it's getting more and more normalized.
I can see that. That's when the quality of our food certainly has changed. That's when the vaccine schedule went up 10,000-fold. Stokely and I, maybe even Q, probably had, like our whole childhood, maybe 10 vaccines here and there. Now you have 10 before you're like 15 months old. So you just keep jabbing them and 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 jabbing them with shit every couple of months. And that's fine. Y'all know how I feel about vaccines, and I don't want to step on nobody's toes because I know some folks are very, very devout to the medical sciences, and that's your choice. We live in this country, we get that right. But these are direct correlations to why our children are in the situations that they are. Why we have the medical issues that we have, the illnesses that we have, girls having their periods younger, girls having double uteruses more commonly than ever before, like just so many things that are like, what are some of the common denominators? This isn't just freak shit. This isn't just, an act of God and, my kid got struck with the thing or something. No, there's usually environmental factors, whether we participate in them or not. Sometimes it's something as simple as being exposed to chemtrails on a regular basis. Those things get into our bodies and they start to change and they modify things, and that's, I don't like to get into the COVID jab a whole lot because I know everybody feels their own way about that one as well. But like that, you guys were talking about the conditioning and the normalizing, that did just that. You know how many times people said, well, you had vaccines your whole life growing up and you're fine. It's like, yeah, but those weren't the same vaccines. And in all actuality, by definition of a vaccine, the COVID jab was not that. But we're so used to the word vaccine because we've heard it our whole entire life. And thank God most of us have always been fine. But you're lactose intolerant, you got eczema, you got ADD, you got ADHD, you got other types of mood disorders, all kind of weird shit just happening, right? But it normalized it for people in their mind because, I've been hearing the word vaccine forever. So this one should be no different than all the others that I've had. And so normalizing these words, it's very dangerous. Something as simple as normalizing like mock meat. I don't even eat mock meat as a vegan. I don't eat chemical meat. I don't eat, I'll make a black bean burger for you, or I'll make a quinoa burger for you, or I will make all kind of stuff, but I don't eat fake meat. It's not the way it was designed to be. So when we think about all these little things, something as simple as saying, it's going to feed people that can't eat. But if they wanted people to be fed that can't eat right now, they could do that. They could do that. People say, but we're losing all this water because the shit we and corporate America and corporate Earth have done. those rivers aren't just drying up because we're drinking too much water. They're creating climate changes. The sun is too goddamn close to the earth. It's hot. It's burning shit up. There's just a lot of stuff happening right now. For something like that to take place and be a good thing is not how I don't feel like that's a good thing. Yes, of course, I want everybody to eat. Then grow plants. Grow plants. If we actually stopped meat consumption, our earth would go back to green. Humans' consumption on meat is one of the most detrimental things to this planet. It is one of the reasons why we have no water, why we have disease, why we have illnesses, why we have food shortages. I mean, meat consumption by humans is one of the worst fucking things that we can do to this planet. So if they really wanted it to be better, they could make it better. This just seems like the next thing to make a bunch of money and then get people eating this fake ass food that 10 years down the line, 5 years down the line, we don't know what's going to happen inside. Just like I keep saying about the COVID jab, give it 2 years post jab and see what's happened to people who've taken that vaccine, the shot, right? It's just a matter of time. I don't feel like there's anything good about that when there are alternatives to feeding people. And there are solutions to the problems.
Yeah, there's just so much deception.
Very much.
That we live under. You know, I was watching a documentary about Chernobyl in 1986, the plant in Ukraine that leaked and then ended up blowing up and catching on fire and all this other stuff. And they've walked the earth with those meters, reading the levels. And over time, they've noticed that bugs, same species of bugs, have changed the way that they look to survive.
Yeah.
Mushrooms are growing that they've never seen before.
Yep.
Birds' beaks are shorter and smaller. Their nostrils are smaller. They showed a picture of a headless moose running across a field.
Yeah.
Just crazy shit.
Yeah.
But chemtrails and things of that nature are all.
But radioactive exposure is our day-to-day life. We think about Chernobyl like, oh, that could never happen. That's what the fuck happened with Fukushima. Yeah, exactly. And it just seeped all into the ocean, and it just going in, and we're just eating all this shell food. There's this shellfish out of the ocean that has been. You've got dolphins with 4 eyes. You've got shrimp with 2 heads. You've got fish that have both male and female insides now. Like when you start fucking with God, and y'all know I'm not even like a big Godhead, right? But when you start fucking with whatever the source creator is,
you just cussing and saying God all in the same sentence.
Because I know that look, I tell you what, Stokely, if God came down today, me and God are going to be okay. He or she or whoever may be can look at my rap sheet right now. We're going to be all right. I'm not worried about God coming down here. However, when you start fucking with the source creator and you start changing the natural order of things,
I hear you. There's a price to pay. Yeah, there's a price to pay.
We don't have a problem.
You got a frog with a frog on its back that has, they Siamese twin frogs. It's just crazy stuff. So, it's happening. It's happening.
I ain't got enough time left on this earth to. I got a good 30 years if I'm lucky. So.
Okay, I have a question. I'm kind of changing the subject a little bit, but kind of on subject. So Q, you mentioned the concept of pretty much like transferring consciousness. Like if you could transfer your consciousness to a more improved vessel.
That's what I'm doing right now.
You know what I mean? But you do it. So
every show that we have, I'm transferring consciousness.
Right. So my question.
Well, I'm giving. Yeah. Go ahead. What's the question?
My question is, and I seen this on this episode of. There was this special that what's his name? Morgan Freeman was like the narrator for, and I think it was called God. It was on Netflix.
Yeah.
I think I saw that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Did y'all see the episode where in Q hop in at any point in time where the person was trying to, I guess, build some sort of technology to transfer the consciousness of their loved one into it,
that's what I'm doing now. I said this probably like 3 years ago, or maybe right before COVID hit, when I started doing all these random shows. That's what 30 on the thread, 21, all that's about. I am leaving a footprint of my consciousness. So when it's time and that technology is built, there will be hundreds, thousands of hours of my thoughts, opinions, perspectives, all of that they're going to build into a consciousness. I don't know if it's going to be an actual person, it's just going to be a machine, but my great grandchildren will be able to ask me questions about my life, how I think, and all of it will be built up based off of what I've left. I don't talk about that often, but yeah, no, that's one of the reasons why I do all of these shows.
Okay, with that being said, Q, I'm going to go a step further. If you could... okay, I got a few questions going on in my head right now. Y'all pick which one y'all want to answer. Boom. So if you could really have your consciousness transferred, like you know how you sign off on organ, donor kind of situation, and you could sign off on having your consciousness transferred to someone or to something, would you be okay with that? And then I have a follow-up question that's kind of going to...
Okay, so let me say this. I don't think, in my opinion, I don't think your actual conscious, like my soul, I don't think my soul can be transferred from one form to another. So I think it can be
reincarnation. Then, do you believe in reincarnation?
No.
Okay.
I don't. I think there can be an essence that's reincarnated, but I don't think I don't know exactly how to say it. I think your essence can manifest in another form, but I don't think my soul, or what I call my soul, or when I close my eyes and shut down all my senses, the part of me that still thinks and reflects and forecasts and does all that, I don't think that itself can be transferred. So now all of my
time.
Say what?
You think you've only been here one time?
Oh,
I don't know if I believe that.
Yeah, I no, I think in different forms. So let me try to make this as simple as I can. I think that God manifests itself in billions and trillions of small entities. It's almost like the Matrix. Remember where all of the machines would do all of these things, but it was all controlled by the source. Mm-hmm. And everything that you did. So like I said, everything has to come back to the source. So all of my experience for my, however long I live, 50, 60, 70 years, goes back to the source. And just like I'm in this one entity right now, the source is a collection of all things. So that's why. So even when someone says they have deja vu, I can't say it was necessarily me being somewhere, but I am connected into the source. So that's why I can look at you and feel like I've seen you before, even though I've never seen you. But there's the God source in me and the God source in you still connects and identifies in a certain type of way. This may not make any sense, but I'm trying to just explain it the best way that I can.
That makes sense, because what you're explaining to me is what I've heard explained in so many ways, which is like we're all kind of like a part of the same being. And so in so many ways, but that was a really good way of how you broke that down, of being a part of a source and like going back to the source, which is like, if you had been here before, it's just like you said, like elements, pieces of yourself, maybe being here before and coming back in some sort of way, but your wholeness as you are as Q today has not been in its whole self here today, some other time. That makes sense. Nikki, you were going to ask something.
Well, when you had asked Q if he believed in reincarnation, and he said that he didn't think so, that the soul wouldn't like transfer into like another being, another person, right? My first thought was like, then how do you explain a child that you say has been here before? This baby got an old soul. This kid has been here before. It's one thing as an adult. We don't say that about adults. We say that about as children, little kids who should not know or behave or have an energy in certain ways that they just shouldn't have as 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds and 2-year-olds are just too young yet. Like, you know, some people say this is an old soul. He or she has been here before. I mean, I know it's not really the same thing, and I'm not saying that that's an example of reincarnation, but I guess more to the question of then where does the soul go when you die? Does the soul just go with you? Because I'm a firm believer in we are frequencies. Our bodies, we're all frequencies. We're electric components, and energy doesn't
goes back to
die.
The source. I think it goes back to the source, and I think once we're released from this body, then we will have access. Like see, you have to stop looking at yourself as the individual. You are the individual as long as you're in this flesh clothing. Once you're released from this flesh clothing, then you're God in a different type of way. It's like now you're just connect. So now everything will be clear to you because you won't be bound and restricted by just this perspective. You'll be opened up to all perspective. So like I said, I am God, but right now I'm living through the experience of Q. Once I release this body, I will still have an existence. I'll be God, but it'll be God as seeing everything, all of the experiences. And then that's when things are made more clear to you.
Interesting.
So it's not even I am Q. This is God living an experience through Q. I'm trying to figure out how to say it, but
no, I like that. That's very interesting.
Well, it's super interesting, especially when you consider that I don't think that most religious people would feel that way.
You see, that's the thing. You keep,
and I don't mean to categorize you by any religion.
You can't lump me in with that. I'm telling you, it's not.
No, but just me knowing your background, right, and where you come from, like that just doesn't seem like something. Like I don't feel like. Have you had this conversation with your parents, and what was their feedback? Like I don't have this conversation with hardly anybody. The only reason I'm having this conversation is because Denise has the intellect to come up with the question. So right. The fact that she has the fact that she can come up with the question lets me know that on some level she can receive in part what I'm saying. Whether she agree with it or not, she can receive what's being said because she had the capacity to ask the question. Most people don't even have the capacity to ask that type of question, so I know not to even go there.
Wow. Thank you, Q.
So you believe then that we are gods?
Yes.
Is that because we are created in his image, or is that because you genuinely believe that we are?
The Bible even says ye are gods. That's not even that's actually even biblical. People just are afraid because religion restricts them from even exploring what the Bible itself says, but the Bible actually says that.
Well, and so that becomes the barrier, I think, right? Is because aren't we told that you're not supposed to worship more than one God? If we're all gods, wouldn't that be counterproductive to the word in which we're supposed to follow? Like this just rabbit holes for me all the way down.
But that it is, but that comes to your just you have to have your personal discernment of how you view it. And true. I think that's where you like, how can you have this mindset but still subscribe to any religion? Like, well, how could you do that? And I'm okay with the way that it was certain religions that built me up to where I am right now. So I just don't have a problem with it.
Right.
I'm with you.
And too. I know truth comes in levels. Truth is in levels. True. So even someone who believes certain things, I don't disagree with them. I'm like, yeah, that is the truth on a certain level. It's kind of, I can't remember which podcast I was talking. Maybe I might have been on a different one I was talking to.
On this one.
But I was talking about Kanye in a certain type of thing. I don't know whether was it this one or it might have been a different. And where I was saying like everybody got so upset with the White Lives Matter and certain things. And I'm like, on a certain level, he's wrong. And on a different level, there's truth to it. Like it's all in different levels. So it's like, what level are you looking at this from? We're in a lot of levels where we are right now. We're not able to receive certain levels of truth.
I agree.
But if you are on the level where color doesn't matter anymore, then even that in that point that the statement itself is even a moot point. Like it's so many whatever. I ain't gonna go that far into it, but go ahead. Because then and once you get to that state, then like why are you even talking about white or black or anything? But it's tough to do when you live in this society, and we do live in a society where color is a thing. So I'm like I said, that's a real thing. So you don't want to dismiss this reality talking about a different reality because both are real.
I was talking to my bro about this today. My bro from another mother, like how people have put these titles on us like race. And even though it's really not a real thing, because the title is put on us, the things that happen to us because of that title are real. So we're steady fighting against something that almost doesn't exist because the consequences of that thing still affect us. And we're so busy fighting that thing that we can't get to the other shit. It's like literally, if racism didn't exist, there would be so much more that we could fix with the world. And that is the biggest thing that is holding all of us back is race.
And that's the thing. See, levels of truth. Go back to Independence Day. Oh, I'm black, you white, and Asian, this and this and this and that. Then when the aliens came and they about to take over the whole planet, oh, we humans. We ain't got no time for no black, white, Asian, nothing. It's us against them. You see how quick perception changes? Let a whole race of aliens come down and be ready to take over. Ain't nobody gonna be worried about what color you is. We humans, we gotta stick together. That's it.
Well, they do that, when 9/11 happened. We was all Americans right then.
We all Americans. Oh,
unless
we all Americans.
Unless you were brown or Muslim.
No, even then, we was all Americans then for a few months at least.
Yeah.
Just don't be Middle Eastern. I know what you're saying.
Yeah. They had it bad. That was the first time. That was the first time in my life. I was a teenager at the time, but that was the first time where I was old enough to be like, someone's kind of like being treated worse than black people. Like that was the first time I ever had that thought. So I was like, oh shit.
Right.
Yeah, you couldn't be a brown person at that time. You could not. I mean, and being in Austin, we have a very big tech industry, and so at the time, I think Tasha was going to a daycare where it was
like you gotta. Right.
Tasha was going to a daycare that was like funded through like IBM and all this shit. So there were a lot of Middle Eastern families that went to the school, and we talked about 9/11 a little bit last week, and how I say that it's certainly, in my opinion, it's an inside job, but it did just that. We literally just talked about it. It was not safe to be a brown person. We were all American that day. And as Americans, we supported them going over there and fucking them people up, no questions asked, because of what they did to us. And they didn't fucking do it. Yep. They didn't do it. Yep. They did not do that. We did that to us. Our government did that to our American people, blew them buildings up and blamed it on those Muslim people. And for 20 years, they've been trying to get their fucking name cleared, and it's never going to happen because they go back to the system of racism.
And even somebody like me, if I believe Bin Laden did do it, Saddam Hussein didn't do it, Iraq didn't do it, and we went over there. We went over there bullying them.
Yeah, it's just, but see, that's the American way. Excuse me, it's the American way. It's always been that way. I mean, America's on so much bullshit. It is unbelievable. And as soon as you start to pay attention to how this bullshit has played out over the years,
we just call somebody terrorist. Unlike now, all the times we can call people terrorists.
But what they won't do is
has that person have they killed more people than we have?
Right.
Absolutely. There you go. That's a good question. And we won't call these mass shooters a terrorist. I do too, but I don't understand it.
Because those words are not reserved for white-skinned people. Those words are not reserved for the majority. Those words are not reserved for us. Those are reserved for those people. The people that can't defend themselves. The people who the system is designed to work against. So you could call a brown person a terrorist and nobody will fucking bat their eyes. Let me call a white cop a terrorist and I'm every horrible name in the book. But I didn't lie. By definition of terrorist, he or she meets the definition. You've met the criteria.
I mean, people who invaded the Capitol, is that not terrorism?
Thank you.
They're trying to overthrow the Capitol.
They refuse to call them motherfuckers a terrorist. Excuse my
French. Refuse to call them a terrorist.
Yeah,
and and funny Stokely, because in the beginning when I first started calling cops terrorists and racist terrorists, it felt a little uncomfortable. I was like, oh shit, am I doing too much? But I was like, no, I am not doing too much. This is exactly, by definition, what this person's behavior is. We've just somehow gotten conditioned to think that in this country, we're fucking amazing. It's everybody else that's the problem. And then you come to realize, as time goes on, that no, it's our government. It's the systems, it's the powers that be.
It goes back to that conditioning we were just talking about a little while ago. When you got 400 plus years of being conditioned to believe some bullshit, I mean, what do you expect at this point? Kids that are born, say 10 years ago, not all of them, but I'm going to say white kids that were born 10 years ago, they're 10 years old, 11 years old now, will grow up to believe what their parents believed and what their grandparents believed and what their great-grandparents believe because of how America raises people, raises children. Mm-hmm. You get it daily when you go to school, schools that will not talk about, they won't even talk about
I think that's going to fade, though. I think that's going to fade.
I see it.
As much as your parents will be the primary source or influence in your life, but as time goes on, there's going to be more exposure to other opinions outside of that opinion. And it's going to be harder and harder for a real racist to insulate their child to only see that point of view. So you think about it in the 50s and 40s. It's easier to enforce it when your next door neighbors and their next door and everybody on the street was all lockstep in their racism.
Okay, so we are more diverse at this point. As a nation, we're becoming more diverse, which our neighbors and the neighbors down the street and every third family down the street will be a person of color or a family of color. So yes, I see that happening.
And the access of information.
And
not only the access of information, and even though I don't, there's a lot of things about TV programming that I don't like. It is going to, either for good or bad, it's going to bring another level of awareness, inclusion, exposure, just representation. Like it's going to bring a lot of that in there. And so a person will not be able to just stand on their racist pedestal without asking themselves questions. Mm-hmm. I think in the past they were able to just stand on it, no questions asked, and even when the government and both sides of the government agreed with it, and everybody that you knew, and it was like that's just what it is. But now you don't have a lot of opposing opinion.
So over time, the Little Mermaid situation that these white folks lost their mind over, we're not going to see that when they come out with a.
I think that's fraud. I think that's fraud.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. This is what I keep learning as the more I do podcasting. They find ways to trend.
Yes,
and they know the more that we make this a polarizing topic, now every black person gonna go want to watch it, and then every white person who hate it either gonna want to watch it to see if it's so. Let me say it like this. I think, and I'm gonna start with Little Mermaid first. It's easy under any circumstance. Little Mermaid come out just like this in any movie. I guarantee you, there's a 10 million people who say love it, can't wait to see it, and then there's gonna be 800,000 to 1 million that say, well, what's wrong with this? Why are they doing this? And you can easily pick out all of the negative posts and turn it into a trending story. Oh, look at all these white people who hate that the Little Mermaid is black and this and this and that. Right. They're going to ignore the hundreds, the other millions of white people say, oh, this is great.
Yes.
It's the same thing. Lizzo does this all the time. That's why I like her, because I'm attracted to her, but she make me sick because she's a troll. She does this all the time. I guarantee you, there's so many people who say, "Oh, I love it. It's beautiful, great representation, all this," and she's gonna go and post all the people who fat shame and say this and this and that, and she makes it this negative, polarizing thing because it grabs people's attention. And then it's like, "Oh wow, all these people hating on Lizzo," and then now you're forced to pick a side. No, you shouldn't be you shouldn't be saying this about her, and now everything has to be polarizing because that's the only thing that grabs attention. I don't believe the Little Mermaid. I don't believe that all these people are in an uproar. I believe the same amount of people are in an uproar about it that's in everything. Do you know every time a Marvel movie comes out, there's probably 1 million people saying, "Well, this ain't how the comic book was," and this and this. They do it all the time. You can easily pick and choose which level of response that you get, and they got promotion teams say, "We're gonna put this in the forefront." So now, if all you're doing is getting people to say that they love it, people not as interested in that.
Right.
I don't believe it. I don't believe that about the Little Mermaid.
Huh. I think my work brother says this, that it's not necessarily a lot of people who are like wrong as so much as more people. The people who are wrong are usually just loud, and that's what it is.
And now these promotion teams have learned it's more profitable for us to highlight those people than it is the people who are going against us. It's just like free thinkers. Like when Nikki says she come up with a topic, I'm like, oh, okay, but yeah, I don't think anybody's gonna disagree with this. Like we have different conversations about topics, and I'm like, if there's no disagreement, then I don't know how interesting it's gonna be. I don't know how long a conversation is gonna last when we all agree on something. So even when we come up with topics, we got to be like, we got to find something where we at least gonna have some disagreement on it, or it's gonna make for a boring show.
True. True.
Well, to that point, I feel like that can be weaponized.
Oh yes.
And I think and I feel like it can be. I feel like if anybody's going to be targeted, it's going to be Black people.
Yes.
And so I think it's really, I think that you have to be very conscientious about the messages and the imagery and the fakery, like you talked about, of things that are happening, because I think that the powers that be, the handlers, the controllers, part of the system that was not designed to fail, is designed to prey upon people. And they know the power that is in Black people. They know the power. They know the actions. They know the energy. They know the devotion, the loyalty, right? They know this. And so something as simple as making up that shit about the Little Mermaid means, oh, now we're going to have how many more Black people come watch our film? Come put their dollars in our theaters.
Yeah.
As opposed to if it would have just come out and Little Mermaid was what's her name?
Ariel.
Barry, not Barry, Bailey. If it just came out and she was gorgeous, Halle Bailey, or Chloe, I don't know if it's Chloe or Halle, it's one of the sisters.
Halle.
I don't think anybody really would have been anything other than, oh my God, so fucking excited. She's beautiful. Oh my God, this is so great representation. But to make it an issue of white people being mad at there being a Black Little Mermaid now means, oh, okay, well, if we just do this, now we get a whole bunch more Black folks over here to come watch our fucking movie.
Let me give you a smaller example. And this was before all of the social media promotion teams were in play. When Annie came out with the Black girl and Jamie Foxx, didn't get a lot of traction. I guarantee you, if they came out with that movie now, they would have used the same promotional tactics, and they would have showed every person who came up with Annie's supposed to be white type of thing, and they would have got people on one side or the other, and they would have got a whole bunch of trending news about it, and then the movie probably would have sold twice as much as it did because everybody they got engulfed in the conversation about, was it right or wrong to have a Black Annie and Daddy Warbucks and all this stuff like that. That's how they would promote it. If it came out now, that's how they promote it.
Yeah.
I just feel like it's so dangerous because
Nikki,
yeah.
You know what they're doing right now? This is what I see more than anything. It makes me sick to my stomach, and I'm getting so turned off by it. But content creators right now, one of the main thing that they're going for is the man-woman relationship thing.
The most toxic shit you can possibly
exactly
do.
Because and you have so many people with polarizing. Y'all don't notice that it's like an abundance of this type of stuff all the time now.
Yeah.
That you seeing, and not only that, there's like, and they know this, but they purposefully they speak in absolutes. No man ever did this and this and this. All women do this and this. They do it because they know that because when you say no or all or nobody or every man or they know every time it's a cause for debate because there's no such thing as all or every or nobody.
Right.
They know that. And it's going to grab attention because the first thing they don't want you to look at something and just keep scrolling. They want you to look at something and have an objection to it. No, all men don't do that. No, it don't. All women don't do that. They purposefully say authority and use different words that's gonna grab your attention and trigger you. It's all on purpose.
Well, it is.
It's
all part of an agenda. It's all part of programming. It's all part of conditioning. It's all part of getting us in line and not using free thinking, really and truly. Watching all of the award shows and especially since Black Panther has come out, right? As much as I believe in Black excellence, as much as I believe in equality, as much as I believe that Black people should have the fucking red carpet right now, I don't feel like that's what Hollywood thinks. Hollywood just wants to make money off of the Black dollar. They don't, as I was watching all of these different award shows and stuff the last couple weeks, and just the beautiful images of all the colors and clothes and dresses and just.
Y'all watch The Woman King yet?
No.
I haven't.
No.
That was a great movie. That was a great movie.
Even that, I feel like that. I feel like the pandering has taken away some of the importance, and I don't think that that's. I don't think that that's right, obviously. And, of course, it's each person's perspective. And it doesn't mean that any of these things are any less magnificent than they actually are. I just don't feel like when it's coming from Hollywood, when it's coming from those people, that they have any intention of any anti-Blackness at all, or giving Black actors and actresses a larger role in film and cinema. And I think that the only reason that a lot of times right now we're seeing so many movies and shows with an abundance of Black people, more than we've ever seen, is because it makes fucking money. It's not about leveling I don't think it's about leveling the playing field. Because
I agree, but I'm just saying, if you're gonna do it to make money, then do it right. And I do like the fact that they've been doing it. Some of the last movies I've seen, it's not the stereotypical stuff. It is,
At least it's not Tyler Perry.
Thank you, Jesus.
And I'm not even all opposed to that, but we got to be more than Tyler Perry, though.
Right.
We can't just be Tyler Perry.
Right. And there's no reason it should only be Tyler Perry. Exactly. Like, what the fuck?
Right.
But that's how the system is designed to work. Absolutely. So I see all these people.
You can have one or two of us, but you can't have 10 great Black movie producers, directors, whatever. You just can't. This country ain't ready for it. Imagine the top 5 movies being produced by 5 Black producers.
But one of the things that's happening though is it levels the playing field is when Netflix, Hulu, there's a lot of every movie don't have to go through the theater now.
Right.
Now, like with Netflix, there's a lot of lesser people who wouldn't get the opportunity to do a blockbuster movie, but they can start off getting their independent movies aired on certain platforms. And once they saw the reception and response that some of those movies were getting, then they were like, oh, well, okay, if it does this one. Like, it was another, what's Dope? Did you ever see that movie?
Years ago, yeah.
No. Was it a movie or was it a show?
No, it was a movie. Dope. It was these 3 high school kids, and If you haven't seen it, go watch Dope. It's like
so.
it's a movie you probably haven't heard. If you watch it, you'd be like, oh, this is a really good movie, well
I feel like
written,
I've
well
seen the
put
title,
together.
but I don't think I've seen the movie.
You might have, but
Okay.
that's the example of a Black movie, not high budget, but it was well put together, high quality, and you was like, I could see this on any level. But when people see stuff like that, then it kind of changes the game. Like, okay, well, now we can pump more money into it.
I just hate that we have to do so much to get some shit done.
God, dog, like.
And then
I'm watching
we have to deal
show.
we have to deal with being exploited to do, in the process. Right. So that's the part of it that just wears me out. That's the part of it that wears me thin. We've been doing this shit forever in this country, and we still have to put up with this bullshit. So
I think it's getting better though. It's slow in certain areas. It's getting better.
Yes.
In cinema, there's there's plenty of non-stereotypical movies and shows that I can look at right now. And it, like, you know what? I went back and watched if you ever go on YouTube, South Central, y'all remember that TV show?
Yeah.
There was a whole lot of stereotypical stuff in that show. I liked it at the time. When I go back and look at it now, I'm like, oh my God, they were just playing up to the whole idea of what the Black experience was in South Central, and they overdid it really bad. But I didn't realize that at the time because that's just what they did. But now, like, you got Bel Air is a dope show. I don't know if y'all seen Bel Air.
I watched it on the plane. I started watching it on the plane.
Bel Air is good.
The reboot of
Fresh Prince.
And I was just like, I don't want to see this. Fresh Prince was perfect. You can't
remake it.
I went through that whole thing and I'm like, oh, it's a drama. Get out of here. I'm done.
Fresh Prince was good.
And I watched it and I was like,
Fresh Prince is good.
Like, I haven't watched the remake. I haven't. I'm the same mentality, Denise. I'm like, nah, the original was good for me.
Nah.
They got me with the intro. When I saw the music that they put to the intro and like how they brought the intro in, I was like, oh, okay.
It's gonna be real stuff.
Really took y'all care when y'all made it. I haven't watched the whole thing yet, but I was like,
it's good, and I can't wait for this next season come out in a month or two. And I was like, ooh, it's good.
Oh, they're still shooting. Like it's still going. Like they did. It's what was it? Just the first season that's been out?
First season is out already.
Okay, so only one season so far.
They put the trailer out for the second season. I don't know how far along they are on.
I'll have to look it up. What's it on?
Peacock.
Is that free? Is that just a free app?
It's not free. It's like the PG-13 version of NBC.
Okay.
So it's the NBC side channel that they can custom do other stuff that NBC can't do.
Got you. Okay. I have to look it up.
All right, we like an hour and a half past what we said.
So much for hard clothes tonight.
Is that what you said? I wasn't on when you said hard clothes. Otherwise,
I did. I said you said we were going to do a hard close tonight because we did 3 hours and 42 minutes last week, y'all. It was 3. And then, I watch the show after we're done every week. So I took my ass to the garage and hit play. And I was like, shit. I think it was like close to 3 o'clock something before I finally went to sleep.
We're doing a hard close next week. When it hit 1:30, I'm just ending it. I'm ending it and closing it off mid-sentence. I don't care who's talking.
Well, it's just, it's like I explained at the beginning of the show. If you need to leave early, that's absolutely fine. You can. Sometimes we do parking lot conversations. We keep going. You're welcome to jump out whenever you need to. But, this is our space. Do you want to do next week? Do you want to do, what do we say, etiquette?
Yeah, we could do it.
Do you want to do etiquette next week?
Yeah, etiquette.
So y'all think about all the different levels,
especially in your space. So for instance, Denise, like in a musical space, when you on stage or when you what's music etiquette? Like I did shows and stuff like that. Like especially when it's a lineup of people, stay on your time. Don't get off your time. When I did shows at churches, hey, they came to see you rap or sing or perform. Don't get up here and act like you a preacher and start trying to preach to people. That ain't what you, that's bad etiquette.
Right.
Don't get up, do your song and then bounce right at that's poor.
Yeah, that's the thing too. That's the thing.
Especially when you're supposed to be showcases, you supporting people. And so anyway, that's an example. So like I said, even when I used to do research studies, there's etiquette. When you in a club, there's certain etiquettes that you do. When you at church, there's certain etiquettes. When
you in jail, there's certain etiquette.
All of that stuff. I ain't been in jail. I don't know about jail, but I'm saying there's etiquettes everywhere. So it's like, what are some of the bring your
dating etiquette?
Dating
etiquette.
Yes. Thank you.
And look, we about to spend. Most of us are going to spend the next couple of days with some family, right? So we'll have some etiquette examples.
Yeah, me and Ivory did a show about surviving the holidays, and we talked about some surviving the holiday etiquette. And she was like, "Yo, this ain't the time for you to be too much of yourself. Everybody ain't used to. You keep it at a 7. Your personality ain't got to be all the way out there like that." Like, it's like it was different. It's different etiquettes in every area. Y'all go back and watch that on. Actually,
look, so my sister got married last Friday the 11th, and so that Thursday when some family had flew down, we went to dinner that night, and we were just catching up with family that I'd see like every fucking 10 years or something, right? And so one of my family members was just kind of catching up, and I guess didn't really realize that my kids had been out of school the entire time up until this year, that they'd been home with me until this school season started, since COVID started. And one of my family members was so confused. He was like, I don't understand. He's like, why couldn't they go back? He's like, y'all didn't have school? And I was like, no, they had school, but the first they were virtual. And then they stopped virtual for my oldest because the vaccine was available. And so since the vaccines weren't available, they said, okay, well, those kids can get vaccinated. They go to school. We're not doing virtual anymore. And then the younger kids, since there wasn't a vaccine available, they allowed the younger kids, so my youngest son, to stay virtual. And he was just like, why didn't you send him back to school? And I was like, because I wasn't going to get him vaccinated, and I didn't want him to be in a building full of a bunch of fucking kids who were shedding vaccination. And he goes, he's like, well, you're just going to have to tell me what the science is behind that one. And so my daughter was sitting in between us, and I was like, I don't have to explain anything to you. If that is the energy in which you come to me with this conversation, we're not having this conversation. And I went right on about my business with the rest. Makasha was like, you handled that so well. She's like, I thought y'all were about to fight at the table. And I was like, I'm not going to do this with just anybody. And if that's the energy that you come with, then I'm going to avoid that confrontation. I don't want to dumb myself down to come to your level.
And
so etiquette that day was I wanted to jump your shit. but
on top of that,
the family member
said it's not worth it.
But not only that, this day is not about me or you. This day is about the people that's getting married. I'm not going to do anything that's highlighting or taking spotlight away from the people who needs to have that spotlight.
Right. This conversation is not about me. This is not my day. This ain't got nothing to do with me. Right. But it was like, so just etiquette. It goes a lot of different ways. And I think that some people, it goes along with manners. I think people just really don't have manners. And so if you lack manners, your etiquette is also going to be equally poor. Right. So I do not miss not having huge holiday functions anymore. Like, I really love the small, personalized, I get to choose which friends are coming over. Like, I love that. I get to have a peaceful, holiday.
I'm thinking of right now. I ain't gonna tell you. I got a bunch of them too.
For
There's
etiquette,
some rules to the game. Yes, I'm telling you, I got a whole set of
rules.
I got some too.
All right, so we got our topics next week. Are we gonna do all etiquette next? We could probably do a whole entire show on etiquette next week then.
Oh yeah. Areas of it, man,
easily.
I already know I got some.
All right. Any last words? Anybody got any last words? Anything you need to know about?
Nope.
How did your thing go? Did you do the thing, Stokely? The speaking?
I did. It was beautiful. You can go on there and see your boy pictures on his Facebook page.
Yeah, I don't think you ever posted a link anywhere.
I didn't. It was last minute,
Okay.
I told you about the tuxedo fiasco.
Okay.
So I had to go get my tuxedo fitted and all that old craziness. But I will tell you this. Your boy was clean though. Go look at the pictures and shit.
I'm gonna go check it out.
That's what's up.
It was just good. It was good. It came together. Oh my goodness. That first tuxedo I had been in my closet for 3 years just wasn't gonna work. And I was like trying to make it work because I didn't want to have to go spend that bread. But I was like, shit, I can't go up here looking crazy. So I did. Got it fitted.
That's what's up. Yeah, we'll have to check it out. I'd like to hear that.
Yeah. So I'm if I got the video stuff, I'll post that too. I've got it somewhere on one of these phones. But yeah, it was good. It was a good night. So it was um, uh, American Jobs, and it was minority-owned Black businesses. It was for minorities. So it was good.
Let's check it out. Post it. Well, y'all have a good Thanksgiving, Friendsgiving, whatever you call it or don't call it. I don't really call it Thanksgiving anymore, but y'all have a good week, a good meal, a good blessing, a good safe travel if anybody's traveling, and we'll see y'all next Tuesday for etiquette and manners. Good night, y'all.
Y'all be good.